There we go. I think that worked. Hello, hello. Welcome to potentially, God willing, the best Thursday night game of the year. EJ, feels good. We finally got a good one.
Yeah, it feels good to have something on the slate that promises a lot of good football. And I saw folks in the chat saying we're cursing it before it even starts. Totally possible, but two good teams playing pretty good football right now. A much better chance of this being a really good football team at the outset than a lot of the others we've seen so far this year.
So, not to sound alarmist, but if you look at
But
the NFL standings, right? So the Bengals right now, before this game, are sitting at 5-4. Okay. Obviously started out with a rough September. If you're looking at division wins, they are winless. If you're looking at conference wins, they are winless. Uh, if they don't win this game, they're staring down the barrel of a not super fun schedule in the last 7 weeks of the season. They would be at 5-5 with virtually no tiebreakers in the entire conference. Is this a playoff game for Cincy? And is every game from here on out basically a playoff game for Cincy?
it feels like it, and that's largely because they dug themselves a hole at the beginning of the month or the beginning of the season, first month of the season, and that it wasn't really their fault. Joe was hurting, limping around, unable to move. We talked about that at length. Probably don't need to talk about that anymore. But the bottom line is, if you're coming from behind, it's a tough sled. This division itself, like we say it all the time, this is a street fight. These teams eat each other, for breakfast every week. They just feast on their own. Nobody comes out of this division unscathed. So if you're in that division to start with and you basically spot them a couple of games at the beginning of the season, yeah, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. There's not a lot of, fat left on the bone for them to say, "Oh, we just didn't play that well this week." So they've got to win every game they can. They're definitely in a chase position. Again, they're playing really good football. They are quote unquote back, but yeah, you can't even the occasional game like last week. It hurts.
Slight correction on myself. They're not winless in the conference. They have one conference win, but it's against Buffalo, right? Who also similarly dire position at the moment. So, again, it's tough to say, oh, must-win game before we even get to Thanksgiving, but this is kind of a must-win game because if you're looking at the Bengals' schedule over the back seven, right? So you got the Steelers, who are 3 games above 500. Didn't really think that was going to happen with how they're being outgained every week, but they're 3 above 500. Then you got the Jags. Then you got the Colts, another 500 team themselves. They're super plucky. You got the Vikings, who just refuse to die. You have another game against the Steelers. Then you got Kansas City. Then you got Cleveland. Like there's no cakewalks anywhere in the rest of the schedule. So it's tough. And then the Ravens, in their own right, ideally going to be a bounce back week for them. They're dealing with injuries because they're Baltimore, and of course they're dealing with injuries, but it's still one of the deeper teams in the NFL, one of the better coach teams in the NFL, with one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. If there was ever time for them to get back on the horse, it's probably this week. And if they do get back on the horse, they're still in the hunt for the first seed. It's still possible for them to get the first seed. It's going to be a hell of a lot harder to do if they lose tonight, but I would say both teams definitely need to win equally for very different reasons. Ravens when it comes to seeding, Bengals when it comes to just making it, period. Either way, two of the best teams, theoretically, on paper, in the conference, going at it on TNF. It's been a while since we've had a good one, EJ.
It has indeed. We got a super chat from overseas. Joseph, hi from Austria. Do you think there will ever be a Super Bowl outside the U.S.? And if, where and how will it be hosted? If you come to Austria, try pine schnapps. Not that good, but a tradition. Yes, I've had pine schnapps actually, and I can agree. Not that good, although not awful. Like it, if you've had schnapps, right? Sticky sweet, a lot of sugar, pine scented, I guess. That sounds like, cleaning products, but, it is what it is. Joseph, thanks very much. Let's see. If it was hosted outside, I don't think the Super Bowl will be for some time, just based on revenue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money that is made around the Super Bowl, and the NFL is not going to be keen to ship that overseas. That's hotel and restaurant revenue, all the travel revenue, all the corporate sponsorship, and all the corporate events that go on around the Super Bowl. That's it's sort of its own little movable city, and it generates many, many, many hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're not going to be okay having that offshore, maybe ever. So in terms of the Keystone game of the year, nah, I don't think so. You know, maybe a playoff game, depending on if we get a team with a primarily European schedule over the next, say, 5 years, which is more possible than some people think. And, you know, they were to win a home playoff game. That would be, I think that might be kind of, I don't want to say a first step. That would be a step. I don't ever think the Super Bowl is going offshore. What do you think?
No, it just won't. And I'll give you a different reason than just the money. I mean, the money's the main reason, right? And there's no owner that is willing to give up a potential chance at hosting one of those in their own venue, right? And generating a bunch of money. I'm talking from a security perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Secret Service would be like, no, you want us? It's like, you want us to secure a foreign stadium for 2 weeks? Like, what? Like, no. Like, Secret Service would be like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that don't realize that that's the reason that we'll be in Frisco instead of Las Vegas this year for the Shrine Bowl, is that the Shrine Bowl was close enough. It was within the sort of lockdown closure window because the Super Bowl is going to be in Las Vegas this year. And there is a hard and fast rule from the NFL that ain't no way, ain't no how. You're not doing anything in that stadium for, I think it's 2 weeks before the game. So all the prep can be made, security and otherwise. And Shrine Bowl was right inside that window, and they were looking for an exemption and whatever else. Anyways, ended up in a great venue. We're going to be basically at the Cowboys practice facility at the Star in Frisco, Texas. So all's well that ends well, but that's the reason. Like, that's the reason we're not going to be back in Vegas this year. So you're absolutely correct that trying to move that mobile circus overseas, no, I don't think so.
EJ, we just had $100 super chat.
I saw that. I was going to get to that because there's no way I'm going to let that one hit the cutting room floor.
Echo Warrior, but thank you for starters. Thank you. We really appreciate that. He says, love the podcast, guys. I'm starting my own football podcast next week because of y'all. Happy to hear that. Please go chase your dreams. Please do it. Please tell us what the name of it is. If you have a name, I would love to listen to your first episode. He said, question for you. A lot of people blame Zach for the Jets' whole offense, but I think he's the third biggest issue behind poor play calling and lack of receiver help. Thoughts? I would even say he's the fourth issue because I would throw offensive line in there. I think behind that line, it would be tough for most people to succeed. I think Rodgers would have been fine because he's Rodgers and he could figure it out. But given the circumstances, I don't necessarily think that Zach Wilson is the problem. Now, is he the solution? No. And the defining characteristic of a franchise quarterback is, can you be the solution when you have problems, i.e. bad offensive line, less than ideal play caller, Garrett Wilson being your real only receiver that we care about. A franchise quarterback can elevate you above that. Zach Wilson can't do that. But is Zach Wilson like the reason they're losing? No. I still maintain that they should have been more aggressive at the trade deadline to get somebody who maybe could have done a little bit better job of making chicken salad out of chicken shit, because Zach can't do that. But, is he even the top three in terms of their main problem? I couldn't say so.
Interestingly enough, did you hear the tidbit whisper today that Tannehill is possibly asking for his release from the Titans?
So apparently that was fake.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. But
all right.
But if that does become a reality, that's the natural destination.
Well,
right?
They're Cleveland, and Josh. This is the Josh Dobbs effect. Have no doubt that this is the Josh Dobbs effect. That there are other quarterbacks who are not starting around the league going, well, I'm better than Josh Dobbs, and Josh Dobbs is winning games in Minnesota. Like, yeah, I know it's after the trade deadline, but there are a couple of teams out there that need my help, and I'm sitting on the bench here. So let me see if I can leverage my way to go work for them. And with Tannehill, there's connections actually with the Jets. There's 2 connections, former coaches that are on the Jets staff. So it makes a little bit of sense. It would be interesting. I tend to think, yeah, Tannehill isn't great. He's not a huge upgrade from Zach Wilson, but he does have more experience. There are other issues, but would that Jets team with that defense win more games with Tannehill? The answer is maybe 1 or 2, and maybe 1 or 2 would make a big difference for that team.
Again, they're still in the playoff hunt too, just like Cincy is. Now, they're more. Actually, that's a good question. Who's the more improbable record right now? Because the Bengals are at 5-4, and the Jets, I think, are also at 5-4. Let's see, Jets are 4-5. So, what's more improbable? The Jets at 4-5 with Rodgers playing 4 snaps this year, or the Bengals at 5-4?
Again, I would, if we were sitting preseason, I would say Bengals. Right, Bengals were one of the very best teams in the NFL last year, and to think they would come out and stumble. It was largely, again, due to a quarterback injury. Not completely, just like the Jets. It's not the only reason. There were other reasons as well, but it's a big reason that they, started off in a hole and didn't start off like gangbusters. So, both improbable records, but we should probably let the folks see our Pick'em roster for the night. And we do have a drink for this evening.
Well, you do at least. I'm letting you drink the shitty one tonight. I'm getting the good one tonight.
Okay.
We also have
yeah.
You think I'm doing Jaeger bombs after doing Malort 3 times this year? Hell no. That's you, bud. That's you.
All you, buddy. So Bengals fans reached out and let us know that there is a drink called the Bengal Bomb, which I was unfamiliar with, which, like most bombs, is a shot inside some soda. Lots of bombs are shots inside beer. But it being Cincinnati, it's got to be something orange. So it's orange soda. It's supposed to be Orange Crush, but the store I went to didn't have Orange Crush. So I have Orange Sunkissed, which I figure is a decent, decent substitute. And then good old Jaeger. You'll see that I bought the small bottle, not the big bottle.
I don't think Malort comes in the small ones. So
I can't think that it's a great stocking stuffer around the holidays. Like, I got you a little bottle of Malort. Oh yeah, screw you. Anyways, and I did. You got to check this out. This is high quality drinkware. This is a clear NFL Solo cup.
Where did you get that?
It came in like a party pack, like a summer party pack that I think we got at like dollar store or something, and I had like 2 left in the cupboard, and I was like, I can't drink this out of glass. No one drinks this out of glass. Not at a tailgate. Everybody drinks this out of like you look at you. I know what that is.
It's Eagle Rare, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
I got the good stuff tonight. So thank you for taking one for the team. I had taken enough bullets this year.
Yeah, your vest is toast. We need to get you a new vest. Okay.
So
I don't feel good about that.
I know people are asking. First of all, Alex, we will 100% get to your super chat right after this. I just want to give people time to see it because we have dueling slips tonight. This is EJ's. All right, so he has Jamar at higher than 82.5. Rushing plus receiving. He has Tyler Boyd at lower 7.5 targets. He has Keaton Mitchell higher at 6.5 receiving. Zay Flowers higher at 51.5 receiving. And Gus Edwards higher than 11 rushing attempts. So I'm going to throw that one into chat first if you guys believe that EJ's entry is superior. But I have my own. So, being the degenerate that I am, I went back and I watched Baltimore Cincy the first time around, and I do feel based on how much quarter half or half quarter they were playing, depending on where Jamar lined up, they always had the half field safety with a cloud corner on Jamar's side, and I kind of feel like they might just use him as bait and just open up like endless little flats and sticks and everything like that for Irv. I just need him to catch 2. So I went higher on 1.5 receptions for Irv Smith.
I looked at her, but that was the one that my skin started itching. I was like, if I pick that, he will get 0 looks.
100%.
He will not get not just one catch. He will get 0 looks. They won't throw to him all night.
I also did Joe Mixon higher than 53.5 rushing because I feel like they learned their lesson last time when they just ran duo like 13 times and it didn't work. I feel like they probably learned from that. And I think they might give Joe a little bit more to work with tonight. I also took Zay Flowers, but I took the Scorcher, which adds on like a multiplier. So I took him at higher than half a touchdown. I took Andrews at higher than half a touchdown. And I took Odafe Owe at higher than half a sack. If you combine all those Scorchers together, it adds up to like a hilariously large boost to pay out. So it's a $10 entry, and if I hit 4, it still pays out like $70. So I was like, okay. And if it hits all 5, I get like $280. So the Scorchers add up when you stack them. So I'm also gonna.
I know what we're doing.
I know what we're doing with
that. All right. So this turned kind of, I don't know, dark orange. It almost looks like amber beer at this point in terms of like the color character. The smell's not. I mean, it's not awful.
But is it good?
I don't know. I haven't had any, but I'm about to find out.
I'm so intrigued by this. I mean, you're not revolting.
No, I mean, come on. You're talking about a lot of sugar canceling out a little bit of that licorice taste. It's very doable. It's far more doable than something like Malort.
Or
I mean,
I
don't
vodka.
Typically. Yeah. No, and it's, it's pretty cold too. I don't think I'd want it warmed up in either case, but yeah, good on you, Bengals fans. Not bad.
I mean, that's, again, the bar over there is Skyline Chili, which is barely chili. So, as far as coming up with their own team drink, it's the best we can hope for.
It's not something I would like go out of my way to make and say, oh, you got to try this. It's amazing. But it's surprisingly palatable.
Alex Tracy for $50. Thank you very much, Alex. I told you we get to your super chat. And I personally want to say thank you for all the support, because this is not the first one you've given us. You've given us many over the weeks and months and years. And we always have appreciated your support and backing us up. So thank you, Alex. Bottom of my heart, we appreciate everything you've done for us. He says, finally get a Thursday night off work. With the holidays coming up, I'm in need of suggestions for gifts for myself, for someone who is looking to get into football mechanics at an advanced level. Any suggestions? Appreciate the content as always. So ironically, I am working on an episode for my channel right now, which is essentially a gift guide for like degenerates that want to get more into like being a tape pounder and anything like that. So as far as a gift for somebody who wants to learn, there's a lot of books out there from Dan Casey, Cody Alexander, Bobby Peters, Cameron Soren, and I'll have all these in the video as well. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I have a lot of books that basically go over different schemes and terminologies and techniques and everything like that. And so all those books are awesome for people that want to get more into the game. There's another kind of, I'd say it's more like a sentimental gift or anything, but so there's a website called like Football XOS where you can like download PDFs of old playbooks. And I don't think Tyler's watching this stream right now, but Tyler, my brother-in-law, massive Bucks fan, right? The early 2000s Bucks were like his.
Also a fantastic wing chef.
One of the best I know. So I'm gonna grab an early 2000s Buccaneers playbook and like print it out, get it bound, professionally bound and everything like that, and basically just give him like, oh, here's like Tony Dungy's playbook, because I have it, might as well. I think he'd really appreciate it.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
They have so like they have like Wade Phillips's old Falcons defense. They have Shanahan's 90s Broncos offense. So like anybody that is a fan of, again, the website, I think it's called Football XOS, and there's just playbooks galore, like old playbooks galore. And it's just, I mean, it's not like cheap because you still have to get it printed and bound and everything like that. But in terms of just like a really cool, unique gift for a football fan, giving them like a classic bound playbook for their favorite team, I think is pretty cool.
Echo says, and another $9.99. You didn't have to do that, Echo. He said he's going to call it the All 23 podcast.
Oh, let's go. Love it.
I'm about it. So, thanks for the kind words. That was, that's probably one of people ask me, like, what's the weirdest thing about this job, or what's the most surprising? Certainly the most surprising thing about this line of work for me has been people coming up to me and coming up to us, and saying, hey, what you do was really important for me at a time in my life, or changed me, or it inspired me, or something else, because I kind of got into this line of work without any expectations in that regard. Like, I wasn't doing this to inspire people. Quite the opposite. I really didn't think it was going to. I was doing it because I wanted to do it, and it was fun, and I thought we could create good content, but the whole, like, you meaningfully impacted my life was not high on the list of goals for this particular endeavor. And it just goes to show that if you're really into what you're doing and you create good stuff, that will happen sort of organically. And it's happened more in this job than it has in almost any other job, which I find hilarious and so cool, but also just completely mystifying. So easily one of the most surprising things about transitioning to this line of work.
You never really get used to it as somebody who's been in it for a long time.
No.
You never ever get used to it.
You do not.
Fun, but it's great. Echo, by the way, please send me like a DM on Twitter or an email or something like that when that first episode goes live, because I want to listen to it. And also, it's just word to the wise. Anybody who's either has a podcast or starting a podcast that's listening to this right now, YouTube is the largest podcast platform on planet Earth. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how important YouTube is for podcasts. Like, do the podcast, but do it on camera and put it on YouTube, because the discoverability in YouTube is so much higher than every other like audio only platform. Like, you got to do YouTube for it. So.
And even if you can't do on camera stuff to start, longtime fans of Bootleg will remember when Bootleg started for the first like 6 or 8 months, all we had was just a title image, right? It was a picture of Brett's living room with the title, the chapter title Times over it. And that was it. That was the entire visual, but the podcast was on YouTube because we knew that eventually we were going to go to video. We always wanted it to be YouTube centric. And so for the first 6 or 8 months, we didn't do on camera stuff. We did it as like what you would now call shorts or much smaller videos, some draft videos, things like that. But in terms of the podcast was weekly at that point, and it was, for all intents and purposes, audio only, and we still put it on YouTube. And the growth on YouTube versus all the, hardcore established audio only platforms, YouTube surpassed those within the time that we went to on camera. So in the first 9 months, we were doing more business on YouTube than we were on iTunes, Spotify, all those combined. And as soon as we added, on camera work and got cameras and went to work, like it quickly became the ratio it is now, which is 5 or 6 to 1 in terms of how people consume it. For every 5 or 6 people that watch it on YouTube, one person listens to it on some audio streaming service, all combined. So
yeah, I would say we get, I think it's still like 5,000 or 6,000 audio, and then anywhere between like, I don't know, 15 to in this part of the season, like it always, like, in the summer is when we get the most views during the off-season series. And then, first month of the season, there's a big old spike. And then as the season goes on, it drops. And then we just say the word draft and it just goes right back up again, right? And tomorrow's episode is actually we're going over the bad teams, because one of the complaints that we've got, well, not complaints, more so criticisms, is like, hey, let's talk about the shitty teams now too. And so we're doing that. We're gonna go through 5 of the worst teams in the NFL that have not gotten any love on the show in a while, because they're not super good.
Because they're bad.
And we are correcting our mistake and talking about them and talking about the state of the franchise and, major decisions they have going forward, and draft talk and everything like that. So I think it's, what is it? Cardinals, Giants, Packers, Patriots, Falcons.
Correct.
I think we're the 5 that we
nailed it. And when people start saying, why don't you talk about the Panthers? Well, we had the Panthers on a TNF game last week. We talked about them for almost 4 hours. The Bears are a bad team. Yeah, they are, but we talk about the Bears a fair amount. So we tried to hit all the fan bases that we really haven't talked about a lot since the beginning of the season, because it's legitimate criticism. And if you're a Giants fan and you also happen to be a bootleg fan, you're not hearing a lot about the Giants. And if you are, it's not super positive. So this was a chance for us to take a turn and say, where are they at? Use the same metrics that we used to create Bootleg Power Score last summer. Say, this is where they're currently sitting. Like, if the season ended today, these would be their ranks for the stats we used to create the Bootleg Power Score, and then prioritize what their needs are to really sort of work their way out of that hole, and try and give a timetable of, like, this could be a quick turnaround, or boy, they really have a lot of work to do in a lot of areas. Don't expect anything in the next 8 to 9 months. It's probably going to take twice that.
One last little promo for it, because there's only a few minutes to kick off, so I want people that got in here late to see it. Oops. I don't know why Adobe opened up that tab. There we go. All right, I'm going to drop the link in chat. So this is EJ's entry if you wanted to tail it. This one's mine. This is Irv Smith at higher than 1.5 receptions, Mixon higher than 53.5 rushing, Zay Flowers higher than half a touchdown, Andrews higher than half a touchdown, and Odafe Owe higher than half a sack. So I guess you can kind of tell who I think is going to win this game tonight. Remember, I know Bengals fans probably not going to be happy with me. But remember, if you use promo code BOOTLEG when you sign up, they will match your deposit up to $100, and you can play during the games. By the way, they have live entries with stats that update during the games. So if you feel things going a little bit off script and you want to do entries during the game, that promo code also applies really at any time. And there's also specials for new signups as well, like half-yard specials for new signups. So you can either use the link in the description, or there's a handy-dandy QR code on screen. Anytime somebody signs up and deposits, it directly benefits the show more than you could possibly imagine. So we thank Underdog for making these streams possible. We thank you guys for making these streams possible. With that, a couple more super chats that I want to clean up before we get to kickoff. I'll go chronologically. How about that? There's been some people that have been waiting for a little bit. Let's see here. So we got Guy with no vowels for $5. Love these streams, Brett and EJ. Super excited for my Ravens tonight. What's the thing you most want to see from the Ravens offense tonight to win? Boy. I would say get Keaton Mitchell more involved. Just because he every time he touches the ball, he's just been extraordinarily impressive. And I don't think he's going to out-touch Gus, because Gus is more built for getting those touches. But I would like to see them give him more, right? I think the most touches he's gotten in a game is like 9. Let's see if we can go like a Kamara kind of usage here and do 17 for Gus, like 13 for Keaton Mitchell, just because every time he touches it could go for 30. Like literally every time he gets the ball, it could go for 30. So I would love to see them kind of lean a little bit more on him to add some more dynamism to this offense. I think through the air, they haven't been as vertical as I've wanted them to be. Not that they've been like Steelers level static, but I do feel like there's more deep passing to be had than what they've done. So getting Zay involved down the field a little bit more, I would also like to see. Really just the young kids in general. You got a bunch of speed and a bunch of youth. You might as well use it.
Yeah, I would agree. Keaton Mitchell is high on my list for that. And, it can be running or passing. It doesn't matter. He is an explosive play in a bottle. He's been that since college. He had easily the highest explosive play rate in this class of all the running backs. And he had like 55 last year. And I think Jacques Charbonnet, who was second, had like 30. Like it was way higher. This has always been his thing. So yeah, get him some touches. And I'd like to see him spread the receiving love around a little bit. They still tend to concentrate on Zay. Obviously, that's not a bad thing. I don't want less touches for Zay. They've worked in Rashad Bateman a little bit. They've worked in OBJ even less. They almost never put Dev Duve in the primary offense, and when they do, they don't target him. So again, all those guys can run. It'd be nice to see a couple of shots to him, even if it's just kind of performative to keep things open. And they start off down the field to Andrews. So there you go.
We'll take it.
Andrews is just, hey, he's been that target for them for a long time. The 10 to 15 yard target in this offense for years has been Mark Andrews. They tried to make it Hollywood Brown, but he ended up being the sort of 10 and under target mostly in this offense. And whatever works. If you're going to get Mark Andrews out there for 10 or 15 yards, it counts just the same as if you're going to get Zay out there for 10 or 15 yards.
And against a defense that is going to come out and play cover 3 a lot on early downs, I mean, there's worse things to call than flood on the first play if you know you're going to get it.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Oh, man.
By the way, are you on normal broadcast or Prime Vision? I forgot to ask you.
I am on normal broadcast, so I just saw
I'm on Prime Vision myself. Which, by the way,
right.
if people haven't watched the game on Prime Vision before, do it. It's awesome.
It's amazing. We'll have to see what the gap is. Our gap has been pretty good for the last couple of weeks, and boy, has that been nice.
I didn't see if Oscar, if you're still here, he did do a super chat asking if he should start Tua or Lamar tonight. I hope that he saw. So we were talking about something else at the moment, but time was of the essence, so I put into chat for him to start Tua. I hope he saw it on time. I mean, you can't really go wrong starting Lamar either, but.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Big play to Zay Flowers. I would say most impressive part about that was Lamar just kind of hanging tight in a really compressed pocket, no panic, not kind of running himself into pressure. You'll see it on the replay. Just kind of watch him hang out there.
Yeah. I was like, clock. You got to get rid of it. He knew what was coming open. Delivers a beautiful ball too. Look at the accuracy. It's perfect. It's right on his face mask. It's like 6 inches in front of his face mask.
Perfect.
Just a super accurate throw.
I think Makari's out there at right tackle tonight, right? I think he is.
Yeah, he is. They just put his number of starts up.
He's hard to miss. He's so fucking big.
Yeah. And we get Lamar with a smart run, gets down without contact. I'm going to take those all night. I mean, the Lamar Jackson runs where he goes, left to right 3 times on the field and eventually takes off for a 30-yard scramble. That's great. Those little ones where nobody's filling the hole and he's got space and he takes 8.5 free yards and slides all night long, please. That is a very necessary part of their offense in a good way. And as many times as he wants to do that safely tonight, I'm all about it.
All right. Well, fairly quick into the red zone here already.
Yeah, Mitchell slipped on the handoff.
That was
not great.
So
he just tried to cut real hard, and his footing gave way.
Well, he had 2 pullers going to his left. I want to see a replay to see
if he was going the right way.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Come on, Lamar. All right. Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay, that's cool.
That's one of those positive plays that definitely should have been a negative play, that because Lamar is Lamar, he turns into a positive play.
Kind of, except the guy on the left boundary was open at the snap. Like, he was open on the primary. He wasn't the primary read, so Lamar was looking right. That route was to the left. It was probably at earliest the 3rd read in his progression, if not the 4th. So I don't really blame him for not getting there. It looks good that he takes off, but like if he'd turned earlier in the play, that guy was standing there by himself. He could have just flipped it to him and made the same game.
I'm wondering if the fact that it was Patrick Ricard factored into that, where he's like, let's not throw it at Patrick Ricard.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love that. Okay, Monken he's got a nice script going. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator. Uh-oh, not good.
Is he hurt?
He is hurt. Oh, he's in pain.
He looks really in pain.
Yeah, he knows that's not a good thing.
And Lamar just put his hands on his head. That means Andrews is really, really hurt here.
This is not good.
Fuck.
Come on, we're not even 4 minutes into this game, and the primary receiver on the Ravens, say what you will, down inside the deep red zone. That is,
I couldn't even see what happened.
it didn't look like a lot. I'm not going to say it was non-contact, but I'm with you on the TV view at regular game speed. I didn't see anything that looked out of the ordinary, but I am sure we will see a replay of it, and I will not like that.
Well, if they don't show a replay, that's when you know it's really bad.
Yeah, that's not great news for the Ravens. They are clipping along on this early drive. They have, just pushed it right down the field. Again, Monken's script is so far working what I would describe as perfectly, and looks like the Ravens are, on their way to an early touchdown to start the scoring, and their, best, most reliable receiving threat down in pain in a way that doesn't necessarily look like he's going to be a candidate to return. But we don't know. We're not going to speculate. We'll wait and see what happened.
We hope for the best.
He did not look comfortable. That's for sure.
No. Kel for $5. Any plans for 50K subs? Need something positive to think about as I watch the Bills refuse to miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. We hadn't actually talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably on track to hit it like around Super Bowl, start of draft season.
It'd be Super Bowl early draft season. Like, if not Super Bowl, then like really early draft season. Because I think we're 48.5. In the meantime, if you have football fans in your life who are not subscribed to Bootleg, get them there. We would very much appreciate that. We do want to hit that mark. We know we will, but we haven't talked about what we're gonna do when we get there. We've been busy trying to hit it, not busy figuring out what we'll do when we get there. Honestly, but we'll put some thought to it.
We've been busy just trying to keep up with this season, man. I don't know about you. This one's kicked my ass this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I asked somebody today if they wanted to record next Thursday, and they replied and said, well, it's going to be really hard for me to, record on Thanksgiving. And I was like,
oh, yeah, about that.
I was like, bummer. Okay, he's walking off, which is good news. He is limping, but he is walking off under his own power, which is good news.
Is that Mark Ingram? I think I just saw Mark Ingram on the sideline.
Oh, it's his ankle. Ay.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad one.
That, that's a lot of weight coming down on his ankle. It happens. Seems like there's at least one of those a week in the league. It's just a thing. You got two big, strong guys going at weird angles, and boop, somebody falls on somebody else's legs, and, toe gets caught. And that's how it goes.
Really hope that's more in the sprain category than anything worse than that.
Well, I'm extremely encouraged that he was walking off under his own power. He wasn't even leaning on anybody. So that's a good initial sign. All right. There you go. Gus Bus gets on track.
Gus Bus gets in.
So I think that works out for my roster.
Yeah, because you just took carries on him.
Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't work out for mine because I took Andrew's touchdown, but they're insured. That's why we insure these entries, so we only need 4 out of 5.
Insured.
Yeah.
All right.
We're good.
All right. Andrews looks like he is going to limp it off, probably head to the locker room. He's gimping pretty hard on that left ankle.
Yeah, I will say, my fears initially were a lot worse than him being able to walk. So
yeah. We'll see. Didn't look great. Let's hope that, there's no major damage and that it's in the sort of bad sprain variety, not the tear variety, and go from there. But nice little weak side run, Baltimore, and, makes good contact with Logan Wilson. I expected Logan to bow up a little bit more than that, but Gus is a load. Like, Gus runs behind his pads extremely well, and he just never let Logan get set. Like, once he made contact with Logan, he was just driving him.
And Zay did a really nice job of, he didn't, it's Zay Flowers. He's not going to deliver a gigantic blow to Logan Wilson, but he got him on the shoulder just enough to kind of make him flatten the angle. So, when Logan was meeting Gus, he was more kind of chasing the back of his hip than coming, from the front and hitting him square. And, if you're not hitting Gus square, like from the end zone, he's not going to go down in 6 inches. Like, he's going to get in there. So, good on Zay to, I don't want to call it a block, but, getting in the way. We'll take it.
Yeah, you're participating.
Yeah, on a little pin and pull toss play there. Shanahan's staple, by the way. They love calling that. Or at least they did back when they had Raheem Mostert. I don't know if they still call it as much now, but.
Yeah, really good start for Baltimore at home. Receive the first half kickoff means you pretty much got to go down and score. You can't lose the game in the first quarter, but you don't want to give Cincinnati any extra chances. This is a very dangerous offense, even against your Ravens. Very, very good, probably top 2 in the league defense. You do not want to be giving extra shots to Joe Burrow, period.
Ooh, I'm not seeing a cloud corner on Chase initially. They started.
Here's all the rushing yards I needed if I took Joe. I think it was like 8.5.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Rushing yards. And I'm like, he just got 7. Did you catch the little, we'll call it, since the other name's not nice, we'll call it Miami motion for Jamar on the snap?
Yeah. I think Shanahan calls it cheat motion, which that's the less potty mouth version of it. So we'll stick with cheat.
I'll just go with Miami motion. I like the alliteration.
I saw somebody call it Canada motion, not like Matt Canada, but like CFL, and I was like, that's great.
Ooh. All right. Well, they.
It wasn't duo. Like again, that was what really caused the issues for the Bengals run game the first time around. Is the Ravens stuck in cover 2 and quarter half and quarters and all these 2 high structures. And they, since he was trying to hit him with duo right up the middle, and the Ravens defensive line just absolutely annihilated them the first time around. Now, we're trying to go around the beef, do a little toss play outside. They definitely did some self-scouting. I'll give them credit for that.
I'm gonna make you put that on a t-shirt. Oh, there we go. Yep, here come the flags. I was like, his head moved in a very bad way.
3 flags. Literally every direction.
Yeah, he's like, guys, did you see that? Yeah, we're gonna go around the beef is going on a t-shirt.
Trenton Wardman for $10. As a Steelers fan, I'm just going to enjoy watching this slugfest that is AFC North football.
Wow, that's a nasty face mask.
That is a bad face mask. And, as a Steelers fan, you are well acquainted with these two teams beating the shit out of each other and then immediately having to play Pittsburgh. So, Actually, now that I think about it, I think it's division game and division game back-to-back weeks for everybody in the AFC North.
Oh! They're going to want another shot at that one.
So Kyle Hamilton coming off the edge, that's been kind of a favorite of Mike McDonald because even if he doesn't get home as a blitzer, because he's so big and he's so long, he affects the throw, right? Like you have to throw around him. And it makes, like, if you're trying to throw hot, it makes it really tough to throw hot because you have to get it around like this, ent of a human being. If you're trying to throw a screen, like it affects the angle. Like that's how he got the pick last week against Cleveland, right? It's like, it's not about just him getting home for a sack. It's the fact that you kind of can't throw into the pressure against somebody who's that big. And McDonald abuses that constantly. And Hamilton, like you could see when he's rushing, he's never like full on sprinting. He's always is running with his hands up, right?
Yeah, if side note, if I had to start a defensive coordinator at linebacker, Mike McDonald's in my top 5.
Yoked. Him or Ulbrich from the Jets.
Oh yeah,
just chiseled.
Hell, I'll take them as a tandem. Uh,
Miscommunication on the Bengals between the two tight ends. I think both of them weren't sure which one was supposed to do what.
Oh man, did we get Brandon's super chat, the Seahawkers podcast, for of course $12? Very nice. We appreciate it. Thanks to EJ for bringing the good luck to Lumen Field this past weekend. Go Hawks. Yeah, that was a good game. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was great to see Sam Howell for the first time. Really cool. The Hawks came up with a win. Got to see Kenneth Walker go off a couple times. That's always a good time. Got to see a little Jake Bobo action. Man, they love their Jake Bobo in the Northwest. Holy cow. I thought I was a Bobo fan. Lumen Field has adopted that guy.
Well, every time he's on the field, he does something cool. That's why.
Yeah, no,
like, have you ever seen a Seahawk with like a better like snaps played to cool shit ratio than Jake Bobo?
No, I truly wish that ratio existed for Colby Parkinson. And if I have to be petty, I'm not happy about Bobo eating into Parkinson's reps, because let's be honest, they're the same.
They are.
Nice,
God,
nice defensive play.
Yikes.
That is an impressive defensive play.
So it caught him in a little bit of a rotation there. And you can kind of see, so they're starting out, and 32 is actually about 3 yards lower, so you can tell that he's going to be you can tell when there's two safeties high, but one's like 3 or 4 yards deeper than the other, you can pretty much guess that the deeper one is going to be the one's rotating to the post, and the other one's coming down as a hook dropper. And I don't know if Joe thought that it was just a disguise and that they were going to kind of back out into a quarters look or cover two. But to me, just looking at it, seeing the difference in depth of the two safeties, I'm like, that's the hook dropper. That's the post player. You should probably have your eyes on not even hook dropper. You're really more playing the hook, like coming from depth.
Yeah.
And when you're playing a hook zone coming from depth, it means that you can have your eyes on the quarterback while you're getting to your spot. And that's what makes it really, really dangerous to throw into it. So I think Joe's going to want that one back. And, I think when the safeties tell you what they're doing, you should probably believe them.
Yeah, great defensive play to sort of split the receivers too, because he hung until the last second to be able to break on that ball to the right. He was trailing sort of equidistant right in between the two, and then was like, go ahead, throw it. Drove hard off his left foot, got the hand in the passing lane. Pretty impressive stuff.
Jared Cole for $20. New job, unfortunately, comes with a move to first, which means no more primetime games, but it does come with a welding apprenticeship. Let's go. But a temporary change in schedule, which means I can make tonight. So hello, let's watch some football. Welding, hell of a trade to get into. Infinite job security. You're going to have a job forever, a well-paying job forever. If I was going to go into the trades, welding's one of them, because A, there's a lot of money in it, and B, humanity will always need weld. It's the most recession-proof job ever. So good job landing a welding apprenticeship. It's either that or electrician, or the two that I would do, because I'm never going to run out of work.
I will leave you the Sparky job. I will take the welder's job, because welding's fun as hell. Welding's good time.
I end up on welding TikTok sometimes, and there's this guy, and he's literally like a welding teacher. And he just goes around with his wife, and they'll be at a theme park, and he's just inspecting all these welds at theme parks, looking at how they're fixing railings, or he's zooming in on roller coasters, everything like that, checking welds and rating them. And I don't know shit about welding, but it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Also, don't do underwater welding. I know they make a lot of money. That's where I draw the line. I would prefer you stay alive, Jared.
They make a fantastic amount of money. And so do the people that inspect their welds. One of my buddies is a construction inspector, but he started off being he started off doing concrete, and then he got certified to do welding, and then he eventually got certified to do underwater welding inspection. And so he's on a list. He doesn't do it very often, but he can literally be flown anywhere in the world to go, check out how they fixed an oil rig.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what they're for.
Yeah.
Connor Easterday for $10. I discovered Bootleg last year and was immediately bummed that I hadn't been following for longer. Well, welcome. Thank you. You guys are seriously the best in the industry. Keep up the amazing work. Much love. And we appreciate you, Connor. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And thank you for your contribution. We appreciate it.
I'm not cringing because of your comments, Connor. I'm cringing because they just re-showed Mark Andrews getting his leg twisted in directions that should not be twisted. So thanks for saying that. We deeply and definitely appreciate when folks say that. We try. That's our goal, is to be right where you think we are. So we'll keep striving, and you keep watching. Holy cow.
God, oh man, he missed it by like 6 inches.
I know. I'm gonna say it doesn't even matter, because that's the play I called for at the beginning when somebody said, "What do you want to see out of the Ravens?"
Post over, baby. Post over.
I want to see some deep shots to players other than Zay. There's a deep shot to somebody other than Zay, and honestly, watching Lamar Jackson throw shots just like that is just pure football porn. Like, it is effortless to watch him rip that ball, and most guys can't even throw it that far, and he does it so easily. He's got a great arm.
Oh. Is that Hendrickson? Yeah, it is. Which, by the way, I can't believe he's even playing.
He's playing on a hyperextended knee.
He's tough. So he's one of the top pressure getters in the NFL. If I recall correctly, he's like 7th in pressures in the NFL this year. They really, really missed Hubbard last week, and they haven't really gotten pressure from anybody not named Hendrickson and DJ Reader, so they desperately needed him tonight. Good to see him out there. He's really, really good.
That was a great read, too. So people are going to say, why didn't they block him? He's supposed to be unblocked on that play. That play purposefully leaves the end open. They're running away from him, so they go, yeah. And he saw it, cut it flat, drove on the ball carrier. Keaton Mitchell gave him just a little bit of a hesitation, and he just ate him, period, done. Like, that's a great play by him, but he was supposed to be unblocked. That wasn't a screw up. That's just hey, we think we can get around the corner faster than he can, get down and flatten on the line. Nope. Not on that one.
Chat says Sparky is a slur.
It is. It absolutely is.
So keep in mind, EJ's a former surveyor, right? So he's been around plenty of them in his day.
Oh, easily.
What's the slur for surveyors?
Oh. Those are just bad names. They don't have a fancy
fucking nerd
name.
Like,
yeah, they don't. I mean, I don't know. We should come up with one. I'm sure there is one. But do you know my favorite surveying joke? I mean, how often do I get to tell that? Not very.
No.
Okay, so Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
It's 3 surveyors and that other guy.
Were they really? Were they all surveyors?
Yeah. 3 out of the 4 were surveyors.
No shit.
Yeah, true story.
Oh, that's funny.
So there you go. Anyways, a joke you'll never be able to use, chat. Sorry.
It's just hyper niche. By the way, Hendrickson got another sack beating Patrick McCarry. And McCarry, by the way, to his credit, love him as a swing tackle, extremely valuable as a swing tackle. But constantly having to switch back and forth from week to week from right tackle to left tackle. He's had to play both this year. It's tough. And It's especially tough when you then have to go up against one of the best edge rushers in the NFL when you just switch your footwork this week from right tackle to left tackle. It's hard. It's hard.
So way back when, AJ Dombrowski for $5 had a super chat recommending Finding the Winning Edge for Beginners. Not comprehensive, but a great foundation. Also, RIP to the legend Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh wrote Finding the Winning Edge. Great recommendation, AJ. It is difficult to find. I would suggest used bookstores, because trying to get a copy off eBay or Amazon or whatever, you will pay some exorbitant prices. You will pay $85, $95 for like dog-eared copies. You'll pay much more for, pristine copies. And if it's signed, it can be $200, $300, $400, $500. And it's just a book you want to read. Whereas the copy that I had, that I ended up giving to somebody else, I found at a used bookstore, and I think I paid $12.50 for it or something.
Wow, really?
It was just buried. Like they didn't know what it was. And I
Wow.
mean, it was an expansive used bookstore. And I was like, is this? No, this isn't. And it was beat up, but it was complete. It wasn't missing any pages or anything. So, yeah. Anyways, if you like hanging around used bookstores, that is where I would be checking. And it is an umbrella sort of overview foundational type book. And then just in general, in terms of like trying to understand the mechanics of football, I would highly recommend pick a specialization. I don't care what it is. It doesn't have to be the one you end up with. It can be as simple as just dividing between offense and defense and picking one. The more the more niche you go, I think the more resources there are and the more you can focus a little bit. Because if you try and take it all in the beginning,
It's gonna bounce off.
Right? Yeah, you're just gonna get overwhelmed. So pick a spot that you're interested in that you think is cool. I look at guys like Matt Harmon, who specialized in receiver play and now are experts on that. Brandon Thorne with offensive line. Like those guys found something that fascinated them and then really dug in, and they've expanded over time. Reception perceptions doing quarterbacks now, and Brandon's gotten into the defensive line aspect as well, which makes a ton of sense. Watching offensive line play every week, but start with something, and you don't have to stick there. If you realize this really isn't the thing that floats my boat, you can move around. It's a great thing. But don't try and do it all at once, because I see people go out and buy 8 different books and they read 3.5 of them, get overwhelmed and kind of quit. They just go, I'll never get it all. The answer is yes, you will never get it all. That's why we're
just
continually fascinated.
Part of it,
Get a foundation that you like and you're interested in, because it can get tough. Like even when you like it, it does get tough. And you're going to want to have that drive of just, hey, I'm intrinsically interested in this to keep you going.
So it looks like quarter, half here. Cloud corner to the boundary side after the motion. Now they're getting into quarters. And we got a timeout. That was going to be the first snap of a cloud corner to Chase that we saw the entire day. And then there's a timeout. So
Tankus says, my mom's a surveyor. She's used that before. Oh, yeah. I bet. Which reminds me of my fighter pilot joke.
What's that?
How do you know there's a fighter pilot at a party?
They'll tell you.
Oh, don't worry. He'll tell you.
Same thing for CrossFit, vegan.
Vegans,
God.
Yep.
What's another one?
Yeah. So, hey, if you're a surveyor, you probably only have one good
home
joke
brewer.
about surveyors.
Home brewer will tell you.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Football podcaster. No. I actually don't volunteer that information very much. If people ask, I'll tell them what I do, but I don't. I certainly don't lead with it.
It's hard for me to explain what I do.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, how are they going to rule this?
Looks like incomplete. I don't know if he quote unquote made a football move.
I don't know either, but he was already in contact with the ground, so we're just calling it incomplete to make it easy. I think is what we're doing here.
That's a really tough job for Hamilton to play that in space.
Oh, he never had it. He never stopped the ball from moving, so that's okay.
But for Hamilton to even get there, to kind of get his arm in there, that's
I appreciate
for a guy
it.
who's 6'4", that's really hard to do from a 12-yard shelf.
Oh, he's not going to get out of that.
Nope.
All right, both defensive lines eating early.
And again, not just because I'm watching Hamilton on every play, I got to highlight it. So last snap, again, he's playing number 2, 12 yards off the deck in quarters, mirroring an out route, getting in on it. Next one, he's walked up like he's going to blitz, and then he backs out, and he's the pull runner at Tampa 2. And that was 2 snaps after they blitzed him off the edge. Mike McDonald is just taking this 6'4" athlete and saying, I'm going to make you play a different role literally every single snap. And it's so fun to watch.
And he really has grown. He struggled mightily as a rookie. He didn't really – they tried to make him do a lot of things, and he was not good at a lot of things, and that was rough for him early on. I think the move to Mike McDonald was super important, and realizing, hey, these are his strengths and these are things that are going to give him confidence. the Ravens found those and he started to make some impact. And then he was like, aha, I didn't forget how to play football. I'm still good, but I have to do things in a certain way, which was what we said about him in our, pre-draft work was he's better facing the quarterback. He did not have the confidence to turn his back and run the pole in Tampa 2 well coming out of college. Like that was
well, he would
not
leave he would leave too much space and kind of expect guys to bend into him, and it's like not in the NFL. You got to go attack them, man. You got to get on them.
Yeah, they're going to run away from you. So he can now do that stuff with confidence, but it's because they sort of ratcheted that down, put him in, I'm going to say like the early Kyle Duggar role to really build confidence, to get him down near the line, to have him attack off the edges. We've already seen a couple of times. Once he started to get that under him, and then he had, a year worth of strength and conditioning and NFL coaching and expectation about, hey, if I do that, I'm going to get burned. Then they started to expand. And this year, like you said, McDonald is just cranking up his opportunities and using him in a lot of different ways, but he wasn't capable of being used in those ways when he came out. There was a lot of buzz about him, not his fault, coming out of college, and people overestimated his skill set, not his athleticism, but his skill set. They really said, he'll just be good at everything because he's tall and he's pretty fast.
He was
fast
really
straight line.
He was best down towards the line of scrimmage, and he's still best towards the line of scrimmage.
Agreed.
But he's better now, deeper than he was at Notre Dame, and especially as a rookie. Like, he has legitimately gotten better at playing in space. I didn't want him anywhere in space at all when he was coming out. I was like, he was like the messiest T-step ever, which, 6'4" DB, I get it. But, like, they've legitimately gotten him better at doing that to the point where, like, you feel comfortable leaving him in quarters, essentially one-on-one with Jamar Chase on an out route. Like, he couldn't do that at Notre Dame. He couldn't do that as a rookie, but now he can.
No, but you noticed the way that they set him up for that, too. They put him at depth with his eyes towards the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they did not put him in press and say, okay, turn, and then go turn again with Jamar Chase. So he was able to say, all right, Jamar's yours, but you're going to be coming downhill with your eyes looking at Joe, match the first break, and then use your length to make a play. So it has a lot to do with coaches understanding the players they have and the skills that they come with, and not just going, he's a good athlete, so I ought to be able to line him up one-on-one with a slot receiver and he can run, man on bang 7. He couldn't. They tried that when he was a rookie and he flailed poorly. Like he was not built for that. So now they're like, hey, you have a lot of strengths. Let's put you in position to use those.
Watching Macari against Hendrickson again coming up here because it's going to be second and long. Based on run-pass tendencies, this is almost definitely a pass. Curious to see if they give Macari some chip help. He might need it.
Alex had a super chat letting us know that Andrews is ruled out, getting x-rays right now. Appreciate that.
Oh, they already ruled him out. Wow.
Want to make sure there's no structural damage. He was limping really hard. So guys that tend to try and come back from that, they get that super casted tape job. They come out, test it at halftime. It's like, I know it's a big game for both teams. We highlighted that at the top, but there's a lot of games left, and your team's going to need you.
They should care more about January than November right now.
Yep. Just showed a shot of Eric DaCosta, one of the best GMs, I think it's safe to say, in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Great move by Lamar to get away from pressure. Okay.
Hendrickson's limping again. His knee's definitely bothering him.
And Lamar's down on the sideline now. Oh boy.
Oh, my God. Fucking bloodbath game.
Well, kind of always is in the AFC North. But if Andrews and Lamar go down in the first quarter, we're talking about the first quarter, that's advantage Cincinnati. And again, it's the same thing.
What did it?
Logan.
I think Wilson didn't let go of his ankle as
Lamar was
Logan
turning. Gator rolled him a little bit.
Yeah.
No, he let go pretty quick.
Oh, I didn't see his ankle got trapped under Logan. I thought Logan was just holding it.
It looked like he gator rolled him a little bit, but he didn't that was not a dirty play. I thought
No,
initially.
I didn't think it was dirty. It's more so I just think that's,
Well,
when you're
on the
getting
first
tackled from
angle,
behind, it can happen.
yeah, on the first angle, it looked like Wilson held on to him a little longer than he should have. But from the angle behind Wilson, you saw that as soon as he came up from the ground, he let his leg go.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Jawbreakers for $5. Why the fuck is trading in fantasy? Oh,
okay.
All right, he's down.
Ooh.
Jawbreaker says, why the fuck is trading in fantasy so hard? Trying to get Dak has been harder than trying to get a Georgia Bulldog from Howie Roseman. At this point in the season, it's hard to make trades, right? Because everybody's kind of like, everybody's got their roster essentially set. All like the major fab targets are generally gone at this point, right? There's really nothing on the waiver wire that's worth anything. And so nobody wants to give up the piece that they think is going to carry them through the playoffs. And so psychologically, like, people are more willing to trade in the beginning of the year than in the end of the year. So you almost kind of gotta, depending on what your depth is at other positions, you almost have to give up your depth at another position in order to get a good, not even like great, but good starting quality player at the position that you need. It's like you almost got to be willing to lose the trade to make the trade this late in the year, and then hope that you stay healthy.
Oh man,
nice catch from Tyler Boyd over the middle. Oh no, they ruled it incomplete.
Yeah, he didn't get it. Was mine? Did I have targets for Boyd or
yeah?
catches?
You had under targets.
Oh well, that doesn't help.
That's 7.5.
I know. I was thinking that even with Higgins out, that they might go to the tight ends. But of course, if that's what I thought, they'll throw to Boyd like 10 times.
At this point, like, unless like Brock Bowers himself could walk through that door, and I don't think they're going to throw to tight ends in this offense.
They did last week and the week before. like all of a sudden out of nowhere. No, they literally 2 weeks ago, all three tight ends had 3 receptions. I was like, what is this? Great run by Mixon up the middle there. He's such a good running back.
Same side shotgun power, but with a tackle adjustment. So I was kind of going over this on the Monday stream, but if you're running shotgun power away from the 3 technique, a lot of teams will pull the left tackle instead of the guard.
Yep.
And it's a
well, there you go.
Increasingly common adjustment. It looks like dart, but it's really not. Dart's kind of if you're running it at the 3 technique, but you're still pulling the tackle.
Nice little run by Jamar.
Let's see.
Oh, the NHL 101 for $5. What do I do with Pollard? I didn't start Gus today. I had Gibbs, BRJR, and Najee.
Pollard doesn't look the same this year. Honestly, like Rico Dowdle is like the new Tony Pollard replacing Tony Pollard.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I think, good night.
Was that Matabwike? I think it might have been.
Robinson.
Yeah. Matabwike. So it wasn't Matabwike on this one, but have you seen him this year, what he's been doing to people?
Oh, yeah, no. I'm a huge, there's a couple of guys this year. There's always a couple of guys that in their, second year after having you're really high on them their rookie year, and for whatever reason they didn't get playing time or they didn't come on or whatever else. And Matabwike is one of those guys. And then Trey McBride, who we'll talk about in tomorrow's podcast, the tight end for Arizona, is another one of those guys that looks like he's starting to turn the corner and be more what he was coming out of college. And I just love those second-year players that sort of stay with it, find their role in a system, get a little bit more playing time, and really start lighting it up. And, Matabwike has been one of those guys this year. He's been really effective. Mafe is another one that we were super hot on. Didn't have a ton of production last year, and he's just going through the roof this year.
7 straight games with a sack.
Yeah. It's a franchise record.
Yep. Also, that might have been the one-on-one they give Jamar Chase down the boundary, and they didn't hit it.
Yeah. I like Joe's patience, and he did hit one of the tight ends.
The wrong one, not the one I need.
Yeah. Lamar's going from the blue tent back towards the locker. Well, it is. No, it's the end of the first quarter. That's not good. Oh, no.
So we're getting a Tyler Huntley game tonight?
He was warming up. Now he's jogging as if it was the ankle, but somebody said he got his elbow stepped on. So I'm like, are we – is it the Deshaun Watson thing where it's both again, the shoulder and the ankle, or in this case, the elbow and the ankle, or, was it just the ankle? And I don't know. We'll have to see. But Huntley was warming up. They certainly had him taking some reps on the sideline.
Trenton Wardman for $10. Thank you, Trenton, again. On an opposite note, my company commander is a Ravens fan, so whether or not she's going to want to talk to me tomorrow really depends on the outcome of this game.
Yep.
That sounds all right. Yeah.
That is 100%. A guy that we used to podcast with occasionally on Bears Over Beers, he was a Vikings fan, and his CO was I think a Lions fan. No, Packers fan. Worse.
Oh God.
Yeah, so we could kind of unite in our distaste for that. But yeah, the Mondays after the Vikings and Packers played were always fun in there.
Oh, I'm sure the day after the Anthony Barr breaking Aaron Rodgers' clavicle game was just a hoot.
Sure,
a riot in the office.
I have to report that this is a whole lot better really cold because it's been sitting on the desk now for an hour. It's not terrible warm, but it's closer to not good.
Welcome to my hell, EJ.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing that makes Malort good. I don't care if that stuff's frozen solid; it's still not going to be delightful.
We should make Malortsicles in the summer when we do the Bears episode.
We really should not. That sounds like a terrible idea. Hey, are you not a physics guy?
Oh yeah, I guess it would. Well,
the alcohol's not going to freeze.
What's the alcohol content that you can have in something before it won't freeze?
Well, it's that the alcohol has to be much, much colder. The freezing point of alcohol is lower than the freezing point of water.
Yeah, but I see people they do alcoholic popsicles when they make their own. So there has to be a way to do it, right?
Sure. We went the simple route and made watermelons when I was a kid.
Yeah. Slutty JPEG for $2. Thank you, Slutty JPEG. Did you just Coleman curse welders? I hope not. Our society kind of relies on them. So.
Yeah. No, we don't want that. No.
Connor Easterday for $10. Thank you once again, Connor. Commanders fan here. How high do you guys think Howell's ceiling is? I like his demeanor, and he throws a nice deep ball, but he's also so chaotic, and I do not love his throwing motion. Thanks. Well, you just described another young, once upon a time Commanders quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Now, he moves better than Kirk, but in terms of chaotic, hilarious fun that you're going to get on a Sunday, young Howell does remind me a lot of young Kirk. And I think that there is a distinct possibility that he can grow into being modern Kirk, which is all the good, but you're kind of distilling out a lot of the bad. And as time has gone on, we always used to joke microwave Kirk, like he's either on or he's not, no in between. He's been on a lot more than he's been off with each passing year. And I think Howell has the potential to kind of go on that same path, ideally more accelerated than Kirk. It took a while for him to kind of turn off the bad games. But I think Howell can get there where eventually you're just left with mobility, good, accurate deep ball, can attack all three levels of the field, honestly. And, ideally not take 6 sacks a game. But, I think he can get there. I really do.
I think he's getting there much more quickly than Cousins did. And we've seen that over the last month, right? He was taking sacks at an abysmal, unsustainable rate up to about 3.5, 4 weeks ago. We're talking 5, 6 a week on average, and that you just can't hold up through that. And he's dropped that to just basically about half, about 2.9, I think, currently.
Yeah, he's cut it down a lot.
Which is not great, but again, that in halfway through his first full season as a starter, that's good progress. And, he does bring you that ability. I was joking with Brandon, who super chatted in earlier, who runs the Field Goals podcast, or not Field Goals, used to run Field Goals, runs the Seahawkers podcast now. And, the Seahawks were driving down for their last touchdown. They ended that game with a field goal, but it was their last touchdown. And it's like 3.5, a little more, 3 3/4 minutes left. I said, how much time are you comfortable with leaving Howell? It was just kind of ribbing him. And he was like, if we get a touchdown, I don't care. And I was like, okay. And of course, Howell went down, got a touchdown. And then, Seahawks got the big play to get into field goal range and had the field goal to win it. But
the pucker factor when you're going against him, though, is pretty high. Like, Eagles fans know, like, you're probably going to beat the Commanders, but you're really not going to enjoy the experience of beating the Commanders.
Yeah, there was a lot of worry in that stadium, and rightfully so. I mean, if they don't get the big play, that field goal is not anywhere guaranteed, and you might end up going to overtime, or in that case, you would go to overtime. And that looked like a very real possibility with the temperature of the game. I was not a fan of that outcome. I was really hoping somebody would decide it in regulation, and they did.
So, A, Lamar's back in. B, I'm trying to see what this flag is. I think they might be calling either a DPI or a hold.
It's on the defense.
So they had
Likely.
Yeah, so he was matched up with Likely. They were in man coverage, and he was running the ISO slant backside.
He got the hip early. He used the hip as a slingshot to get himself around. I get it.
It's tough. It's a tough call because every DB is going to do that.
Yeah,
and just ideally they're not going to call, but every DB is going to do that. Like, that's literally what they're taught to do.
They're calling it a lot more this year. Everybody got away with that last year, and I think that was a point of emphasis for the competition committee to be like, hey, we got it.
Beautiful PBU. Was that Taylor Britt?
Wow.
I think it was.
I believe it was. Oh, man, I thought that was complete for sure. Yep, absolutely. Cam Taylor Britt, who has really come on. And right here, man, look at how quickly his head gets around. As soon as he makes the turn and run, he snapped his head back and was full on the run. Wouldn't have gotten there if he hadn't.
Well, so the reason why he did that, by the way, and this is something that so many young corners don't do, because he got, like, outside release, he got him. He had a step, right? And what so many young corners do is when they're not in phase, like when they're slightly out of phase and they're under a receiver that is going vertical, they will panic and they will just run down, and then they're going to try to play the ball at the catch point after if it's in the receiver's hands and try to punch through. Cam Taylor Britt, I respect his just remarkable balls and patience, because he will turn his head not even in phase. The receiver's going to have a step on him. He will turn his head not in phase and trust that the receiver is either going to slow down a little bit or that the ball is going to drift a little bit, and that he's going to have an opportunity to track it and knock it away before it even gets there. Like, the sheer audacity to play a deep ball like that when you're not even in phase, the confidence it takes to do that, like, that's just wheelbarrow nuts right there. Like, that's insane. He's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's gotten a lot better. He did not showcase a lot of that ability coming out of college. What we liked about him was his size. He was super physical. He wasn't necessarily the fastest guy, but he had great size, great length, and he was really tough. So a little bit linear, but not in terms of build, but in terms of speed. But his ability,
he's still that.
Yeah, but his ability to turn separates him from other guys that are in that same category, like Ringo, who do not get their head around. And it's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said it, not very many young DBs do that. When you're scouting college DBs, so many guys, you're like, I just want him to get his head around. He's fast enough. He's got great agility. He's got good hips. He can mirror. He uses his hands well, but man, he just never looks back for the ball. And, Cam Taylor Britt developing a much greater repertoire of that. It's not that he never did it in college. It's that he rarely did it in college. And, he's gotten into Lou Anarumo's defense, and he does it way more often now. And he is playing a lot more, and he is playing top receivers almost every week.
I think he trusts himself more. God, Mixon's getting just endless room to run. Like the difference in the Bengals run game versus the first time they played against Baltimore is night and day.
Yeah.
Like they are getting
Well,
so
they
much
didn't
more push.
That's the thing, is the Ravens knew that Joe was hurt, and they didn't have to defend the deep third of the field. He couldn't throw it.
But even then, like just in terms of like just D line are going to play the blocks the same way, but they're just getting run over. Same dudes, but they're just getting run over.
I would agree.
Like I think the Bengals offensive line, clearly they put on that tape this week and was like, "Hey, guys,
Oh,
like you got
man.
the shit kicked out of you. Let's not do that again."
Yeah, so much pass pro on that last play too. Like that pocket held for an immensely long time against a defensive front as good as the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm genuinely impressed by the Bengals. Like I know it's 3 points so far, but the first time they played, just at the line of scrimmage, they looked completely overmatched, and it had nothing like that part of just O-line getting bullied by D-line wasn't even about Joe's calf. Like they just got straight up bullied, and they came to play tonight.
Oh, looks like Joe's going to cork one. Hey, guess what? It's another tight end.
That isn't Irv Smith. Yes, I am well aware, EJ.
He's like, thanks, man. Yeah, I got it.
Let's throw it to every tight end not named Irv Smith. How about that? America's favorite pastime.
Slutty JPEG for $9.99. Funny you should post this question tonight. Hey, Brett, I'm planning to go to the draft this year. What kind of camera lens would you recommend I bring with me? Also, is there any way I could buy a print from your photography from you? Your photography is amazing. I'll let you handle both of those.
So in terms of what kind of camera lens, I would say it depends on what kind of camera you have and also what you plan on shooting. So at the draft, I'm not entirely sure where in Detroit they're holding it, but I'm just kind of going off of past.
I know.
Where?
It's right downtown, just north of the water. It's going to be in 2 spots. The indoor stuff is going to be in a center down there, and there is an adjacent park where they're going to be doing the outdoor stuff.
Okay.
I just looked at this today because I was looking up a venue that we might have a meetup at, which we probably will have a meetup at, and it happens to be that it's really close, which is awesome.
Also, yes, we are going to the draft. I don't know if we announced that, but we are going to the draft.
I think we said last year after KC, like, we're doing this again. But yes, we will be in Detroit, and we will probably do another meetup prior to, which would be Wednesday night. We're working on a venue for that. We've got a connection, and I actually looked up where that was today, which is why I needed to find out where the actual draft is going to be held, and it's really close. It's like 5 blocks north.
For your lens, though, because, again, drafts are generally held in very large open spaces, if you're trying to take a picture of, like, prospects on the stage, you're going to need a long lens, right? I would say, like, a 400 millimeter type lens. I don't know if they'll let you bring that in, so I would, as we get closer to the event, see if we can find any sort of photography rules, if there's any sort of lens restrictions. I know for stadiums it's like 6 inches or less, so that's kind of the default of like a 28 to 70 or something like that. But either way, you're gonna want a telephoto lens if you want to try to get photos of the prospects on the stage. If you just want to kind of do like vibey, atmospheric, wide angle stuff, I would get a prime wide angle lens that's like a 24 or something like that. Or like even down to into the teens, I think this is a 14 millimeter, might be a 16 millimeter wide, and those are pretty good if you're trying to do like just an overarching, like, cool vibey shot of Detroit with the draft venue and everything like that. But it also just depends on the camera that you have. Like I shoot on Sony, and so I'll either use Sony lenses or Sigma makes some really good lenses that I really enjoy. And then as for prints, I've always wanted to sell prints of like my stadium photography and everything like that. But I don't know of a good print shop yet that like works for people like me that want to sell prints. So I got to do some research and find that. I know some photographers, I can ask them. But also, like, I'm trying to decide if I do it, do I want to do it on canvas or do I want to do metal? Because I'm a big fan of metal prints, but I also know that that's a very niche thing and not everybody actually likes it on metal. So yeah, that's Summer Brett's project to figure out.
It might be before Summer Brett's project because I still need my shot for the door. So you might just use me as a test case
of the Tacoma Bridge.
Yeah.
That was a fun shot. I like going out there. That was good.
Yep. So it's going to be the Walter canvas poster on this side and your shot of the door on the outside.
All right, we got stacked to the field.
Oh, absolute bullet from Burrow.
Another target to Boyd. You're getting nervous there, EJ.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of first half targets if we're going to stay under 7.5.
So you can see they used the stack to give him a free release.
Boy, he is not that open, but Joe don't care. Joe's going to hit that.
Really interested that they... So I'm not entirely sure why they locked that in coverage on a stack.
Mixon's having himself a game.
Yeah, he looks good tonight.
And the interior offensive line for the Bengals is really giving the interior defensive line of the Ravens fits. Is Stefanski a dark horse for Coach of the Year from Slushy Cat for $2? Thank you for the $2. If the Browns can go on a run, if the season ended today, they would be in the playoffs. If they can make the playoffs, win a playoff game, I
could see the argument, but like he's got to beat out D'Amico.
Yeah, I think dark horse is the right word. Is he going to be on the slate? I would say they have to win their first playoff game, and then the voting happens like right there when the second playoff game is occurring.
Yeah.
Which is kind of going to work against him because they have to kind of play well in the second. If his team plays well in that second playoff game, even if they lose, like he would have a better chance. But I think a playoff win gets him on the ballot with a backup quarterback for more than half the way.
Again, you're going to the division round with DTR. It's worth something,
Yeah, no, I believe that fully. So great question. Appreciate that, Slushy Cat.
So I want to. The reason why I was confused about the coverage on the Boyd catch. So again, it was a stack to the field. So just pretend the quarterback's over here, right? So you got the receiver that's on the line of scrimmage, and then you got Boyd who's stacked behind him, and you got two DBs. So how I'm used to seeing teams play a stack is they just kind of do what's called a banjo, and just whoever the first outside release is, he's going to take first outside, and then he's going to take inside, right? But they locked it. And so when you had Irwin release up into the corner and then Tyler slipped behind him, they locked it. So this corner was still on Tyler and had to fight through that traffic to get to Boyd, give him a free inside release, and he broke it inside. I'm just curious why they didn't pass that off and banjo that, because typically against a stack, like that there's going to be some sort of collision, some sort of rub, some sort of way to fuck up this point corner. Maybe they just made a mistake. I don't know, but I'm used to the Ravens playing that a lot differently. Credit to the Bengals though, took advantage.
All right, Joe, looking for the touchdown. Mixon's in.
Again, taking advantage of traffic and getting leverage in the flat in the red zone. Like Roquan had to. That's a tall order for Roquan to get there in time.
It's a lot of trash to sort through. Yeah.
This time it was Boyd's job, and you saw him kind of like he was trying to see it. Roquan, are you going under me? Are you going over me? And then he kind of like you. I've seen that called for OPI before. They don't typically do it, but I've seen it called before. They could have if they wanted to because of the effort that Boyd made to intentionally get into Roquan.
Yep.
But, it's one of those, do it,
He also
do it and see if they call it,
Yeah, he also olayed a lot.
Yeah.
It's when you really put a shoulder into him. Uh-oh. Burrow hit his hand on throwing that.
Did he hit a helmet?
I think so.
That's not good.
Nope, he's flexing his hand. It's cold there tonight, too. So anytime anybody that's ever played football or really any other contact sport outside, when you hit your hand and it's cold,
oh, God.
It hurts so freaking bad.
It feels like you just shattered your finger. Like that's.
I played football, but I also played soccer, and I was a soccer goalie very late in my career, junior and senior year in high school, and we played outside in the Northeast in the fall. So we had snow games, we had sleet and slush games, we had all that, and very cold, and you're trying to stay warm, goalie box, moving around or whatever, but here comes a hustler off the left side and hits you flat in the palms. Oh,
yeah. It's tough. Jawbreakers for $10. I offered CD, Puka, and Heineke for Dak and Michael Pittman. Also, the dude has T-Law just sitting on the bench. What more could I do since this is me, Dak, gonna get the curse anyway? So if I was him, considering that I had T-Law on the bench, I would consider the offer. But also, Trevor hasn't been super productive from a fantasy standpoint. Like if we're looking at God, off the top of my head, I know he's not super high in touchdowns. Hold on.
No.
But I remember reading, like, in terms of fantasy points per game, Trevor's pretty low down there. So I can see him not wanting to give it. Yeah, he's got 9 touchdowns in 10 games. So
yeah,
fantasy 9 games.
Fantasy community is starting to bail on Trevor as of about a week and a half ago. There were sort of general calls that, hey, we gotta call like we see it at this point. Like, I know there's holding on, there's hoping it'll turn around and whatever else, but we're halfway through the year and it is what it is. He is a mid-tier fantasy quarterback. So there you go.
So I can see why he's reticent to give up Dak when you have Trevor like just not throwing touchdowns, right? So it's tough.
No, that was non-contact for Joe.
Oh, that's worse though.
Yes, I know. He hit nothing, but something like popped in his wrist. He immediately was flexing that.
That's not good. What a
Oh no, there.
What the fuck? Oh, he hit the hand.
He went down earlier.
No, it hit the hand.
No, that's a play from earlier. He didn't get hit on the goal line. So there was a play earlier where he got hit, which they just showed, and his hand hit the ground as he was being tackled to the ground. On the goal line when he threw it, he immediately recoiled and he didn't hit anybody. There was nobody there. So that was a play later or several plays later.
Weird.
That's concerning.
Okay. Well, hope it's not serious. To wrap up the question, Jawbreakers, are you desperate at quarterback? Because if you're desperate at quarterback, you can maybe try to do a buy low on T-Law if you think he's going to improve production drastically in the back seven. But
yeah, if you don't have anybody else, that could be a solid play if it comes and turns around.
Ooh. And you wouldn't have to give up CD and Puka and Heineke to get him. So y'all best get ready for some runs. If Joe's hurt, Bengals are going to run the shit out of the ball.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. He's going to go.
Big explosive play for Zach. I mean, he's got legit 4.4, 4.3 speed, so.
Oh, there's a flag.
Oh, no. Come on now.
Laundry.
Don't take this from me.
Where'd they throw? Oh, they threw it in the backfield because Harbaugh is bitching.
I need a Zay touchdown. This is killing me.
Nope. You're not getting it.
So, as you can see,
Look at Zay. He's just smiling. He's like, nah,
They
damn
better,
it.
they better get him another one. So again, this is a $10 entry with a bunch of boosts on it. And I know I'm not going to get the Andrews one, but I still need a Zay.
Oh, he got. Oh man, it was OBJ, and he got his hand inside the jersey.
Barely.
I know it
Barely.
was ticky tack, but he pulled the jersey.
Like the guy, he wasn't going to make the tackle anyway.
And the scary part was, so he pulled it with his left hand. His right hand was really good. He had it right here, inside the frame. Good push, like everything you can ask for a wide receiver on a blocking assignment. He just hooked his hands, and they saw that jersey move, and they threw the flag, which is that's rough.
Humade says Florio and Sims highlighted a pic of Joe coming off the team plane with something on his hand, so the injury was pregame. So maybe he aggravated something. Maybe.
So there was he had the picture of this glove, and a lot of people said, "Oh, it might be an iPad glove," or it looked like a little brace. He's headed to the locker room right now.
That's not good.
Nope.
Unless they're just trying to get early start on the old at halftime, you know. But
yeah, wrapping it, keeping it warm, whatever. But
giving him the good stuff.
I hope not. For his sake, that's no, he can't hold it right now. He just tried to throw it on the sideline. It put him on his knees.
Oh,
cow.
Shit.
Not good.
What is it?
My guess is it's probably a tendon inside his wrist at that point.
I was going to say, because what's this one called that kind of runs by the ulnar nerve?
No, I'm actually going to go so there's a little V bone in the back of your wrist that the tendons that go to the top of your fingers run through. So if you put your finger in the soft spot of your wrist right there, right in the joint in the middle, and you run it back and forth until you feel that little tendon bundle, and then you do this, you can feel them running underneath.
So something in there them
And if you get those compressed or banged, or if they're inflamed for any reason, the problem is the sheath, the casing swells a little bit. And then every time you make this motion, which if you're throwing a football and gripping, like you're squeezing those fingers, every time you do that, they get inflamed, and then the tendon sheath expands, and then it doesn't fit in the V anymore. And then it gets more inflamed. It's this little, you got to get them calmed down. And every time you do something to them, it makes them want to not calm down.
I love your vast knowledge of anatomy and injuries, just because of all the things that you have personally hurt in your life from your mountain biking escapades.
Nah, that one actually came from a class I was taking in college, and we were doing it was like, you know, how to teach gymnastics, basically. So we were doing like spotting of, you know, handstands and stuff like that, and I was doing a cartwheel or a round off or something, and I just pinched it, and man, it took a long time to heal. It was really annoying, because every time you do something, like you thought you were good, right? It would get all calmed down, it would stop hurting, and you'd be like, yeah, and then you'd go out and, you know, you'd be playing basketball or whatever, and you'd all of a sudden it'd flare, and you knew you were going to be off for a few days, even in, you know, way back when you were made out of rubber and healed really fast. There's just not a lot of space in there, and so any inflammation is really hard to deal with. And obviously, quarterback on your throwing hand, that wrist, like you can't just like tape it up. Like you need the suppleness to be able to touch balls in there. Touch balls. You were talking about balls and wheelbarrows.
You need the suppleness to touch balls, EJ. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Gotta gently.
It's not going to work as well if you tape your hand up, rookie.
We have a delay for a drone hovering above the field, trying to get a drone shot, by the way. Okay. I speak as somebody who has done drone photography near stadiums, in stadiums, not like entirely legally. In my defense, it was when it was being constructed. It wasn't like an active stadium. It was a construction site, right? Doing that during a game, I've never done that during a game, because they will fucking murder you. Like they will come after you hard for doing like that. That is a no-go zone during an active event at a stadium. Like, you don't go fucking near it with a drone. So not a good idea by that person, whoever that is.
I'm wondering which method they're going to use to take it down, because there's two common methods.
The trained falcons is my favorite one.
Yep. That's the one I like, is get a raptor and have him go murder that thing. But the other one is the big CO2 net gun.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
Net where it goes up and clogs the propellers and drops it. But I'm all for the trained raptor, which, strangely enough, you might get it, but it's not going to be Flowers. Oh, nope, got caught. But again, deep passing by the Ravens to a receiver other than Zay. This is a plus for their game plan. This is a way for them to get chunk plays, and they have not done a lot of this year. Like, guys other than Zay, like you said, the vertical passing game has been limited. That is a great late in the play hole shot. It's literally his third read coming back across.
In chat, Caden says, I broke my scaphoid in high school ball.
Yes.
And I just Googled what the hell a scaphoid is, and that sounds extremely painful. So
it's not great. I've not done it, but I know lots of people that have, and it's painful, and it's a very small bone, and it's slow to heal because, again, high motion in the joint, so you have to immobilize it for a long time.
That was the weirdest sack I've seen Lamar take all year.
It was very strange.
He had Odell. He had him, right?
Yeah.
It is first down, right? So you're working touchdown to check down. He also had a check down, and he just didn't take either of them and took a sack. Like, what?
That was like a short circuit moment right there. Computer just failed to.
Maybe he thought Odell was going to sit it down. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but it's odd. Comes back with positive play, which I like.
Weird.
But
I think you guys missed my super chat. Let me go back and find it for you.
It's possible we did. Somebody says they train Falcons. Yes, they do. Interestingly enough, the hawk that flies at the Seahawks game was standing in the row right next to us because we were up in section 301 up to the left. And so I look over and I was like, poke, 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 like bird. And, my wife was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, bird. Oh, speaking
Nelson
of Nelson
Aguilar, a lot of catch and runs tonight and a lot of flags tonight. Another one. Good God. There we go. I found it for Joe for $10. Thank you, Joe. Giants fan here. How high do you see us picking? Do you think we go QB? Are you out on DJ? I don't.
You have to listen to tomorrow's episode. We spend like 11, 12 minutes talking about just this.
The short version.
Yes.
I don't think they win another game with Tommy DeVito, which means they're probably going to pick in the top two, which means they're probably going to take a quarterback.
Flags against the Bengals.
Oh, it's touchdown. So if their top two pick, which I feel like the only reason you keep Tommy DeVito out there is to secure the bag being a top two pick.
Let us be clear about the bag.
Like, you don't play Tommy DeVito from North Jersey for 8 games unless that's the goal, right? So I think they take a quarterback, yes.
This is the same route. They just ran it with a clear this time. It's literally the same route that they hit Zay on.
Worked before.
They just ran it with a clear.
Worked before.
Yep.
Hendog 1000. Thank you, Hendog. Brett, did you or did you not say that the Ravens are finally healthy? Look at what has happened. Yes. We knew going into this game it was going to be my fault. I wore a Bengals hoodie to try to balance it out.
I didn't even see that.
Pratt got a hand on it.
Okay, better lucky than good sometimes. He's like, whatever, man. I'm just happy it happened.
What a weird game.
This is approaching very weird territory. Somebody said Seattle uses hawks. Yes, they fly a hawk down from the upper reaches of the stadium onto the field. It was funny, though, because as we were sitting there and the hawk was on his handler's arm and she was talking to people and kind of kind of showing him off a little bit. Pigeons would like let go from the roof and like fly in front of him. And every time he was like, oh, hell yeah. Like,
it's on.
and that's right. I was like, let him go. He's gonna Randy Johnson that thing.
Love nothing more. All right, I think we're gonna get some Jake Browning 2-minute drill here.
Am I supposed to be excited about that? I'm not.
Echo Warrior for $5. Is Joseph Osai hurt? Was heating up end of last year, but haven't seen much of him this year.
No, he's in there. I saw him tonight.
Was he hurt?
He was, but he's been back in for a bit.
Because I know Hubbard's out.
No, he's in though. Like I saw him tonight. He's active.
Off the top of my head, I actually can't remember any plays from Joseph Osai. I mean, I'm sure he's out there, but I just haven't.
No, it hasn't made an impact. Well, here we are. Cincinnati practicing the anti-Peyton Manning offense. Oh, look at that. Okay.
Hey, it worked. I'm going to look up Joseph Osai's pressure rate just because I'm actually curious. I genuinely don't know.
JJP, again, good to see you back for $4.99. I'm legit concerned that a Steelers fan has been messing around with the voodoo this year with all the injuries that are happening in the AFC North. That would be one explanation for it. The other, possibly another explanation for their record, which is otherwise inexplicable. Actually, it's not. The Steelers, one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is the Steelers are very good at staying out of trouble. They don't hurt themselves. Their turnover margin is exceptional. They do not turn the ball over very much. They get turnovers, and they just kind of wait for the other team to get in their own way and then waltz off with the victory, not having a ton of production on offense. And it's kind of staggering from a statistical perspective until you get to the turnover margin. And then you go, oh, like they're very good at just going, go ahead. Go trip on your own shoelaces. Like, we're just going to stand here and make sure we don't fall. And it's working for them. It's hard to argue with the results this year, but that is the main reason why, with very little offensive production, being outscored by quite a bit. Yes, obviously an impactful defense. That's why they're winning games.
I always look at it like when I look at the Steelers, I compare them to Jigsaw from the Saw series. Right? They're going to put you in a trap, and they're not going to be the one to kill you. They're going to make you kill yourself. They're going to give you every opportunity to not kill yourself, right? They're going to give you all the chance in the world to get out and to be victorious. But as soon as you make a mistake, that bear trap is slamming clothes on your head, So it's not their fault. Like, hey, they're the ones getting outgained. If you kill yourself, hey, man, it's not on them.
And they will let you do it.
And they will let you do it.
It 100%. Is very impressive.
By the way, I looked it up. Joseph Osai has played single-digit snaps in 6 out of their 9 games. So he is there. He's just not really on the field.
Yeah, he's not really there.
Sean Tron for $2. It's early, but where can Slowick make a good head coach?
I like the question.
That's the thing is, I think there's so many other offensive coaches that are like, quote-unquote, first in line, Kellen Moore, Ben Johnson. Like, I feel like Slowick's going to be there for another year in Houston just because there's other guys that are going to get jobs first. And I'm not entirely sure how many jobs are going to be open because if Antonio Pierce keeps winning, like, he's going to get the Raiders job anyway. And I don't know how many others are going to get fired. So I think, thank God for me as a Texans fan, I think we'll get another year of Slowick.
That's what you're hoping.
That's what I'm hoping for. It's copium.
I can only imagine the comments for the Fox crew on the sidelines right now.
I didn't even see. Did they like address the Carissa Thompson thing at all? Or
I doubt they did. And by Fox crew, I mean Carissa Thompson, who also does Prime Games as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the audio on for the game pregame, so I would doubt very heavily that they mentioned it.
I want to be clear, by the way. Like, I don't really like. It's not a big deal. I don't really care. Like, it's coach speak cliches. Like, Does it make a big difference? No. What I was just curious about was like, why'd she admit doing that though? Like, it's not something I would admit to doing. Like, it doesn't matter, but also it's like, if I'm still in sports media, like actually getting paid in sports media with a job, like I'm not gonna like admit to doing that, you know?
Oh, okay. Oh, that was fun.
Jake Browning got swallowed up again. Pause.
Oh, not for the running back, but that was fun. Here comes Roquan, boy. Wow. Watch this.
Who's that, Mixon? I think it was.
Oh, that was. Yep. Mixon gave him everything he had. Roquan gave him more. That was.
Also,
that's a wake you up in the morning shot.
So, as somebody who watched a lot of Roquan at Georgia and obviously watched Roquan in Chicago, have you noticed since he got to Baltimore, he kind of took on that like early 30s Ray Lewis, like human beer barrel shape, where he's just like a sentient cylinder at this point. Like, he is so much thicker than he was early on in his career. And it's helped him make plays like that one. But like, he's steadily approaching like dad bod build, which is really when a linebacker is at their most dangerous, right? Is when they when they harness the dad bod.
Yeah, like the 1905 Circus Strongman build.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But like still freakishly fast and athletic, but not built like a
Yeah,
twig.
I mean, Mixon, to be fair, is a very good blitz pickup. God. And he gave him everything, but
did it again.
Just beat him down.
Curtis says, y'all just had to say this would be a good game, huh? I mean, it's not a terrible game. It's 14-10. By Panthers-Bears standards, that's like a barn burner.
You know, Browning has progressed a little bit. Oh, did he drop that?
I think ooh, that might hit the ground.
Yeah, did he drop that?
That might hit the ground.
Oh, yeah, that's there. If somebody throws the flag on that, I don't think it's holding up. Oh, official review because we're inside 2 minutes. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to give him that one. Ball was loose and hit the ground.
That jigsaw comparison is maddening. Why? Because it's accurate?
Yes, that's why. You knew that was coming.
I just see TJ Watt, looking at DTR. Do you want to play a game? They're releasing another one of those too, I think.
I don't keep track.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't at this point.
Hen Dog for $9.99. So in other fun fantasy news of the Hen Dog, I have now watched Saquon, Chubb, and Andrews all get hurt on live TV.
Maybe it's you. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's you.
Yeah, you would love it if you could shove that off to somebody else.
It's not my fault for once.
It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Oh, man. Just traded Derrick Henry, a first and a second for Burrow in my Dynasty League 2 days ago. So not great timing. Sorry, Connor. Appreciate the $4.99. Yeah, let's hope it's, something aggravated, misses a little bit of time, maybe the rest of the game tonight, and comes back healthy. Because, look, we all want to see Joe B come back healthy. The team is not the same without him. They are, I don't want to say entirely, they are largely dependent on him being in there. Jake Browning, gotta say, look better. And just, I realize it's extremely limited in terms of sample size, but he didn't make a lot of those plays coming out or early in his career. Like, accuracy was the thing. It was never arm strength. He has a big arm. He can gun it, but he didn't know how to take too much off it. And he was not great when guys were only NFL open. And both the guys he's hit so far were NFL open, and they were good throws. So progress, I hope. Question mark.
Brett, how come you haven't made any videos of the Broncos? I am. I'm going to Colorado in 3 weeks?
Soon.
And I'm assuming the Vance Joseph trend holds. I want to make a video about why the Broncos defense was historically ass in September and how they're, over the last 3 weeks, actually, second in points per game allowed over the last 3 weeks. And over the last 4 weeks, they've held KC to under 20 points or less twice. So, yeah, Broncos defense turned it around. And ideally, I will get to make a video on that when I go to Colorado in early December. Going out to Vail. Should be fun. Go skiing a little bit. Also, by the way, EJ, I put up the tree today, and I'm not sorry about it.
Good for you. I am firmly in the, I'm not going to tell people how to cook their steak, take their coffee, or when to put their tree up or take it down. Like, if they want to do that stuff, that's great. However they want to do it, it's theirs. Like, let them enjoy it.
I knew I wasn't going to get to do it next week, and I wasn't going to get to do it the week after Thanksgiving. I'm like, well, I don't want it up for just 3 weeks, so I might as well do it now.
All right, there you go. Live tree, fake tree?
Fake tree.
Okay.
You think I have the patience for a live tree?
Maybe not.
Fucking just sweeping needles every day? No.
Uh-oh, that's not good. I don't like that.
What, the flag?
Nope.
What?
Zachary for $5. Not looking good. Close-up showed that Burrow's hand is inflated like a balloon. I don't like that.
Yeah, there's not many things that could be not devastating tied to that kind of.
I'm not going to speculate. That's what I'm going to do. I am not going to speculate.
I will by just saying it's probably not good.
Sure. I think that's
Can't
fair.
imagine it's great news.
No, it's yeah, not speculating.
But just like Andrews, we hope it's better than it looked initially.
Yes, maybe.
In the meantime,
we don't know what Andrews is.
That's true. That's true. We got to rule that. We don't know.
I was like, wait, we're not sure it's not terrible. We think it's not terrible.
Oh, so speaking of, they just showed another clip of Andrews getting hurt, and I want to highlight how tough he is and how he still had the presence of mind while screaming, by the way, and the ball popped out because, when your ankle gets turned like that, your hands are just going to be like, I don't function anymore. But he felt the ball come out, and while clearly in a lot of pain, he still reached out and tucked it. I'm like, that's a ball player, man. That's a ball player. Foot might as well have fallen off for all he knows, and he's still ball, got to get it.
Oh, man. I love it. Lose on the sideline, begging for a flag.
I got to say.
Oh, man, I like me some Lou Anarumo. He's a good dude.
This is a very on-brand AFC North game so far.
They are beating the hell out of each other. It is close. It is going to come down to not very many plays, and that is, yes, a very typical AFC North matchup.
Ooh, they showed blitz, then backed out into Tampa 2.
Oh, I don't love that throw from Lamar.
All right.
Lamar occasionally does this. He has the ability to throw to make any throw from just about any arm angle, but get your feet set, man. Don't just, likely should have caught that too. Okay. That's a little bit of blame on both guys, but.
I'd put it more unlikely than
Yeah, it was closer in the replay that from behind the end zone angle with Lamar. It looked a lot closer on TV angle. It looked like he kind of caught him flat-footed and then threw it away from him. It was legitimately close enough to catch. Oh, and there it was. Oh, and a flag. Yikes.
No way. Are they calling a hold on that?
Nah, DPI.
Let me see that again. Come on now. Hold on. All right, so he's outside leverage against a reduced split. Fine. Hand in the chest. Fine.
Don't love it.
Ticky tack, man.
And not super catchable either.
But you saw
Like-
you saw the receiver. He's trained well. It's 3rd and 10. And as soon as you
Yeah,
feel the tug, you throw the arms up.
Oh!
Like, oh my God.
Okay. Absolute Lamar Jackson laser alert to OBJ. Whew.
Hate that.
And we've got a Bengal down. Jeez. Between injuries
And that's
and flags.
DJ. Oh no. Or is it DJ or BJ? It's one of the J's.
That's one of the J's.
I think
It's
I think
BJ.
DJ might be 98. So
Nah,
that's
it's
probably
BJ.
BJ Hill. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh,
non-contact.
non-contact. And he was immediately in pain. Fuck, dude.
This is not fun.
Body bag game.
I know.
It's like every series somebody goes down.
I know, and there's 3 flags.
AFC North, man.
Yeah.
Like
Looks
every year,
ugly.
it's 4 of the best teams in the NFL that can't get through playing each other. Every
No.
year.
It is a gauntlet. We've called it everything. We've called it a wrestling match, a street fight, back alley brawl. Like it is all those things, like trying to get out of this division. And again, as of I think it was last week, if the season had ended, 3 of the 4 AFC North, no, all 4
All
of them,
4.
right?
All 4.
All 4 of the AFC North teams would have been in the playoffs at that point. So they're all playing quality football, but man, they are kicking the snot out of each other. And tonight, unfortunately, it's taken a physical toll on both sides. And
since then,
look.
one of their quarterbacks is out for the year. Another one, something's wrong with the wrist. Another one potentially just had a devastating injury to their top receiving weapon, for lack of a better word. And then you got the Steelers, who how can you describe the Steelers in one sentence? Like,
yeah, I can't.
this entire division's flipped on its head in like 4 days.
Yeah, I don't love it. It's for reasons that we would prefer not be the main thing.
Yeah.
But right now, it's the main thing.
JJ for $5 got my GED at 22 years old recently. Congratulations. And in January, I'm starting at Full Sail University in the Dan Patrick School of Sports Broadcasting. Any advice? First things first, congratulations. That's fucking amazing. And I'm
That's
genuinely
awesome.
proud of you. That is awesome. As for advice, internships. Get as many as you can, or get one as quickly as you can, and do as many as you can. Because internships, and I say this as somebody who worked in the corporate side of sports media, or rather legacy side of sports media, as well as obviously for myself, and then with Bootleg, the internships that I did to get me started in sports media were essentially just extended job interviews, and that's how these companies treat them. So get one as quickly as you can, because you will get hired more based off the internships you do than the degree that you get. Like 100, and that's true of a lot of industries, but like especially in media, like you got to do it. So that's my advice, at least.
And I would say yes, and it's coming back for holding. I was going to say same play to Likely. They hit it this time, and it's coming back. And Simpson's been really good this year. Not a lot of people paying attention to him. Okay.
Yeah,
Again,
he tugged,
don't love it.
He tugged, but yeah.
In addition to the internships, do as much as you can in each one.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says, can you do it? Be honest about it. Generally, the answer is yes. And more so, that's about a willingness than a, previous ability doing it, right? Say, I can do this much.
Say
and I'd
yes
love
and then
to learn.
Google it. That's what you do.
Yep.
Say yes and Google
100%.
it.
And get as, even if it doesn't seem like the thing you want to do, it may end up being another thing that you have to do what you want to do down the road. Certainly in starting Bootleg, there were a great many of those for both of us where we were like, well, it's got to get done, and there's 2 of us. So you want to do it, or is it me? And we split those up fairly evenly, but we both ended up doing a fair amount of things that we had not done before, or had, only done in a different way and needed to find a way that would work for us and for this. But just that it like builds the muscle. It builds a reflex to go, yep, I can do it. Nope, I don't know how to do it, but yes, I can. And that's going to be one of your most worthwhile sort of, it's not even really a skill. It's like a quality or a trait or an approach. It's going to build that approach to just say, even if I haven't done it before, I can figure it out, because I don't care what industry you end up in, what kind of job you get in that industry, that's going to occur all the time. People are going to go, hey, we're starting a new thing. Do you know how to do this? And you're going to go, I don't, but I'm happy to help and I'll figure it out.
So, not to totally change the topic immediately and suddenly, got another ticky-tack PI call. And then we got a big play from Odell. These refs are calling everything in the second. Like, they are not letting these dudes play at all in the secondary.
Oh.
Like, if I'm Cincinnati and Baltimore, I'm coming out in the second half and I am underthrowing deep balls on every single play. Like, that is my go-to play, because they are calling everything.
Yeah, you have to adjust and realize that, no matter how we want to play, no matter what our plan was coming in, the reality is if we continue to play that way, they're going to continue to throw flags. They've shown the willingness and the ability to do that, which makes for not great football. There is a balance, and they are not striking the balance. They're solidly at one end of the scale tonight, but as a team, you have to adjust to that and just go, look, it's going to happen. Oh, that was not a great throw.
Yeah, there's nothing catchable about that anyway.
No. He was looking for a call, and I don't blame him. Again, we were just talking about how easy it's been to get one tonight. But Lamar knows he cooked that one a little bit too much.
So 3rd and 8, they just came out in a 4-strong look to the field on 2nd and 8. Curious to see what they do on 3rd and 8.
Chat says, isn't underthrowing deep balls for PI the Carson Wentz special? It might be named the Carson Wentz special, but it is literally the most effective play for an offense late in the game.
I feel Ravens fans watching this, man, like, they should have flashbacks to the prime Joe Flacco, Torrey Smith years. Like, that was the offense back then, like 2012.
There it is.
Got it. Was that Bateman? Yeah, it was.
It was Bateman. What I appreciate from Lamar on that play in general was patience.
Threw him back inside.
Oh, no. Now Cam Taylor-Britt's limping.
Fucking A, dude.
Dude, it's like, can we just call this game, right? Stop the count.
Is it the surface? Like, what's up with this?
It's cold and it's mid-season and people are just, we've seen games like this before where there's just injury after injury. This is rugged. Anyways, what I appreciated from Lamar on that touchdown that I was going to say earlier, but even earlier in this year, hasn't shown that kind of patience. And he looks so comfortable with what Todd Monken is calling and how it's developing in front of him and how he's seeing it. He didn't let things develop that well. And why would you coming into a new offensive coordinator? But like, watch his patience as he gets out of this pocket. He's not running. He is 100% not running. He is waiting for that route to cut back the entire time.
Yeah, he's running. He's running to throw.
That's right. He's just moving out of the pocket. He didn't sprint to the sideline. He did not, get north-south and put his head down and try and make yards. Got out. He was literally waiting for that route to come back the whole time. Throws a gorgeous ball. I hope Cam Taylor-Britt's all right, because he is a linchpin of what Anarumo and the Bengals have been doing in the secondary.
I looked up the surface and they're on Bermuda grass because I was like, "What is this, a hybrid? Like, what's going on here?" But it's straight up grass. It's just dudes getting hurt tonight.
It's just dark side of the moon type of game.
Yep. Connor Broderick for $5. Patriots fan here, trying to go through what next season will look like during every game now. So if Bill is gone, who do you like most for both jobs? I mean, the natural answer is going to be Ben Johnson, right?
Maybe. I'm not. I have a lot of trouble imagining with the culture that's been built for the last 20 plus years in New England that they're gonna kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater and go, no, we're gonna be a wide open offensive power. Like it's just the roster isn't built for it right now. That's the other thing, is that's gonna take a year and a half just on player acquisition alone.
Well, let me throw this out then. If you let's just say they want to keep a similar style to the culture, maybe similar feel to the team, but a fresher face and newer voice. Somebody's on the screen tonight, Mike McDonald. I think he fits.
I think he fits much more so. I think a lot of Patriots fans would worry, as you know, I think any fan would worry in the modern NFL. If your coach is from a defensive background, and Mike certainly is, you know, first question, who's going to handle the offense? Got to score some points. Patriots are on our list of 5 bad teams tomorrow on the podcast that comes out. That, by the way, is in our inboxes to review after this game, Brett.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, good to know. So we will be talking about this in the Patriots and what we think they have to do to move to a more competitive, you know, stance, because they're not there right now. And the question is going to be like, great, the defense is going to stay very good, maybe even get better. I think it probably might. I know that sounds like heresy after everything Belichick's achieved on the defensive side of the ball, but who's going to dial up the offense, right? We got to score points because we are, boy, I forget. I'm going to pull it up because I've got
in terms of points per game.
Yeah, points in terms of so far this year, I believe they are like 30th, 31st.
So they are 31st at 14.1 points per game. 32nd is the Giants, almost 3 points below them at 11.8. The fact that a team in the modern NFL is scoring 11.8 points per game is flabbergasting.
It's not competitive. Let's put it that way.
Let me see. Did anybody even get... So the worst last year was Denver at 16.9. Still a lot more. Let's see. 2021 last was Jacksonville at 14.9. That was the Urban Meyer year. We'll give them a pass. 2020 was 15.2. The Jets, still better. 2019 last was Washington at 16.6. And then 2018, so we'll just do the last 5 years, it was 14.1 Arizona. So, like, the Giants over the last half decade are the worst team with a bullet in terms of points per game. And
yeah.
I think, they need more than a quarterback to fix it, but I think quarterback at this point, like, you have to acknowledge Danny Dimes is just not, he's not going to dig them out of the hole they're in. And we kind of had a similar, talk with Zach Wilson pregame with the Jets. Like, Zach Wilson isn't necessarily like in the top 3 problems with the Jets, but he's also not the solution. Like, I don't think Daniel Jones is top 3 problems for the Giants. He's not the solution either. So you might as well take a swing on a guy who could be the solution.
Yeah, when you have a pick that high, you might have to. And we go into this in tomorrow's pod of, chicken or the egg. Do you build the team and then add the quarterback, or do you go get a quarterback with a high pick because you don't think you're going to have that high pick again and hope that you can build a team around him fast enough that you don't run out of window and he doesn't get broken in the process by not having enough weapons around him, which is saw a really interesting graph today about Bryce Young, and it was the percentage of times that a quarterback throws when receivers have good separation. So one axis was receiver separation and the other was percentage of times when it's thrown. Mm-hmm. Bryce was backed up completely against the left axis in terms of separation for receivers. Like, nobody's getting open.
Yeah.
And so some of it, a bunch of it is his fault. A bunch of it is not his fault. Like, he has played poorly. Yes. There have not been a lot of options. They're getting like hilariously low production from the deep receiver, right? From Chark or TMJ. Like, those guys are just non-factors, and you can't really have an offense with only 2 levels worth of throws. And again, very little separation on those as well. But back to the Patriots, I mean, 31st in passing offense currently at this point in the season and 31st in points scored, not surprisingly. So, yeah, if you go out and hire a guy like Mike McDonald or any of the other great defensive coaches around the league, Patriots fans, rightfully so, are going to ask the first question. Great. Who's going to design the new passing offense that's going to score us a bunch of points?
While you were talking, I did a little bit of a halftime entry here on Underdog.
Ah,
I probably should have consulted with you while I did it, but I wanted
no.
I wanted to lock it in while the numbers were still available.
Yeah, get those good numbers.
So I got Mixon at higher than 15.5 rushing attempts. Right now he's at I think it was like 7 or something like that. It was doable, right? I did Jermaine Pratt.
You don't want to let Browning cook?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not tonight. Jermaine Pratt higher than 2.5 assists. Right now he's at 1, so give him 2 more assisted tackles on the night. Sure, fine, whatever. Gus Edwards higher than 35.5 rushing yards, and then Zay Flowers higher than 51.5 receiving. Right now he's at 37, so basically he needs like 14 more receiving yards on the night. And he's had, like 80 called back on penalty tonight, so it's a nice little 4-banger here for the second half. I'll throw the link in chat for anybody that wants to tail it for the second half.
Man, Gus just disappeared.
They just they threw a lot.
They started off pretty heavy on the Gus train, and then, I think all 4 of those carries were leading up to his touchdown, which was, again, one of his carries. Yeah. He hasn't had any since. Yeah. 0.
No, it's just been throw.
Yeah.
I think they gave Keaton Mitchell like 1 or 2, but
3 or -4 yards. So he is the Bengals came ready for that.
Either way, if you guys want to tail that for the second half, again, link in the description, or rather link in the chat that I dropped for that specific slip. If you're new to Underdog, they'll match your deposit up to $100 with promo code bootleg. So whatever you put in there, up to $100, they will literally double it. So you can get a lot of free money basically to play with on the site. And again, that is either link in chat or the link in the description, QR code on the screen, a lot of different ways to do it. Anytime you guys sign up, directly benefits the show, and we appreciate those of you that do, especially if we can win at the same time.
Speaking of, we should check in on how we're doing on our first half rosters.
So let me look at that right now. Actually, different page. Stand by.
Hold.
I know, we're almost professional here. So Mixon at 48 rushing yards. I needed him higher than 53.5, so that's probably going to hit. Well, I shouldn't say that. Knowing me.
Have you not learned?
And then we need Owe to get a sack. We need Zay to get a touchdown without it being called back on penalty. Andrews is obviously not going to happen, but this entry is insured, so we only need 4 out of 5. We don't need all 5, and that's why we do insurance. And then Irv Smith, we need him to catch like just 2 balls. It's like just 2. That's all I need.
I told you that was the one that I looked at. And I was like, if I take that, he's getting 0 targets. So the fact that apparently my powers are growing, and the fact that I even thought about it means he's getting 0 targets. All right. How's my first half roster looking?
So you are in decent shape on Zay. You got him at higher than 51.5 receiving. He's like 18, 19 away. Keaton Mitchell, you're negative, so he pulled a George Pickens on us.
But it's only 6.5. If he gets 1 toss, he could take for easy 6.5.
Jamar Chase, that one's just not going to have. He's got 10 yards, and with Jake Browning, I don't feel good about that one.
No.
Tyler Boyd, lower than 7.5 targets. He's at 3, so you're on pace for that one. And then Gus, he's at 4 rushing attempts. You at higher than 11. So, not like amazing shape for us tonight, but that's why we do the in-game entries, to correct our mistakes.
Well, I'm like, hey, 4 carries in the first quarter. We're looking good. Ravens got a lead. They are going to have to run down the stretch if they hold this lead, which, with Browning at quarterback, somewhat likely. So I feel a little bit better about that, because it's not yards. It's only 11 rushing attempts. And if they're trying to kill clock at the end, Gus is going to be their guy.
Until they give Keaton Mitchell 20 carries in the fourth quarter.
No throws. No throws. That's the one that's going to kill me, is they're not going to throw him another ball. because it's got to be receiving yards for Keaton.
So you can see the in-game one that we have right now.
Oh, okay. Burrow questionable to return with right wrist injury.
He's got it in the warmer, so we can't see it.
That's on purpose, I think.
Yeah, it's 100% on purpose.
They're trying to get that swelling down. Not a good thing. All right, I'm going to take this opportunity before we fire it back up. Go get a refresh on things to drink for the second half. I think I'm going to put the Jaeger back in the fridge because warm Jaeger, not even recommended by the manufacturer.
not great. Not great. I'll go through some super chats while you're getting a drink. Coop for $2. Injury rate in AFC North games. Yes, it is historically quite high. Any division games always gonna have people beating the shit out of each other, but especially AFC North games, they take pride in it. Unfortunately, Hendog for $10. AFC North imploding for the Steelers to walk into the playoffs. Fully insert activates, buddy. Don't you know you got to play against DTR this week? You're tempting the gods here, okay? Just for that, football god's gonna make DTR throw for like 350 on you. Zachary for $2. It's almost like short weeks are bad for injuries. You know, I don't actually know what the data is on injury rates for TNF versus normal games. I should probably try to get a hold of that. Because I am genuinely curious if they are higher or if it's just re-injury rates are higher. I know re-injury rates are higher because there's less chance of recovery between games. But in terms of fresh injuries, I don't actually know. But I should try to look that up. And then Zach again for $5. Not looking good. Close-up shows that Burrow's hand is... Oh, that was the one we got to earlier. Okay, cool. All right, I think we're caught up then. I don't think I have any other super chats to get to. God, I hope DTR throws for 300. I do too. That's good for my agenda. Like, I have nothing against the Steelers, but like, I am a pro DTR agenda, and I need that to work. So, there's a reason just Edwards' projections are always at 8 or 9 because he's only expected to get 20 yards and a touchdown or 30 yards for a touchdown. Yeah, that sounds like a typical Gus Edwards stat line. Wrist injury isn't good. Poorly protected area and any swelling would affect throwing and gripping. Heat increases swelling if the area is damaged. Okay. Good to know. I'm wondering if they gave him any sort of injections for like what's the word? Like anti-inflammatory? Is that the right word for it? To reduce swelling? Because if it's just a swelling issue, that's one thing. But if there's like a lack of grip strength, that's a whole different animal, you know? Like there's pain, which I think Joe could fight through pain. And then there's lack of functionality of the hand, which is worse, obviously. Alex Tracy for $5. Any idea of why the NFL doesn't do Friday night games? I feel like there would be a lot of people who would watch it. I think it's harder to get people to sit down and watch TV on a Friday, right? Because that's when a lot of people go out to dinner or, you know, especially a lot of football fans, they go out to like high school games on Friday. They typically leave Fridays for high schools because they know a lot of families that love football are going to be at a high school game. And not to mention like Friday, there's like college games on Fridays sometimes. So they kind of leave that for the lower levels of the sport because they don't want everything cannibalizing everything else, including themselves, right? As for like, is Thursday Night Football overall good for the league? I mean, it makes a lot of money, but again, I don't have any data about injury rates or anything like that, so I can't speak to whether or not it's good for the players. All I know is the players themselves don't seem to be fond of it, generally speaking. Burrow has a headset on. That's not good. That's not ideal. Might get Hamilton coming off the edge again. Also, I love that Prime Vision just identifies that. That's awesome. Echo Warrior for $5. Anyone else remember when Browning balled out in college and he was a first-round pick projection? Yeah, that was a fun 4 months. We were so naive. Should be a rule where teams playing TNF should be going into their bye. I would actually say the opposite. I would say teams that are going to be on TNF should be coming off of a bye so that you basically get 11 days going into it to prepare, and then 10 days coming out of it to prepare for the next one. And the only reason they don't do that is because the bye be fair to the teams that get, the first 4 TNF games. But starting in week 5, for me at least, I feel like it should be standard procedure that you get a bye going into TNF so that you get a lot of time to rest up and prepare for it, and you get a lot of time to rest up coming out of it. I just don't think they're ever going to do that. Welcome back, EJ.
Thank you.
There was a topic broached about if TNF should be tied into a bye to make it so you don't have to do like 3 days of rest for the game. And by the way, I did bring that up. So when I worked at NFL Network back in the day, and this was, 10 years ago, Steve Mariucci was on the competition committee, and I literally brought it up to him in a meeting of like, why don't we do that? And he said he liked the idea. It never happened, though, so I assume there has to be some sort of money-related reason why it didn't happen, or broadcast-related reason why it didn't happen.
Yeah, and I think with all the help they get from AI in terms of scheduling now, things like that could be arranged more easily. The schedule was complicated enough as it was.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I always loved short stretches of Browning's play, but it was too few, and not connected by enough good plays. Showing some really nice accuracy tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if you can throw with leverage, you can play for a long time in the NFL.
Nice pocket movement to avoid the sack.
How did he not get sack fumbled there? Like, that was actually pretty insane that he held onto that thing, because that tomahawk chop was coming in from like 10 yards away. That's impressive.
It's an experienced quarterback, but he just couldn't string together the sort of sections of quality. And, it's a very limited sample size, but he's looked much more together. And look, he's been around a lot longer at this point.
Osiris says the AI can't be that good if there's 4 Giants primetime games.
Well, we could talk about that. Oh, Hamilton on the blitz.
Is he going to get it? No, it was left inside. Got to throw that outside. Either you leave it outside if the DB is low shoulder, you throw it outside and deep. If the DB is high shoulder, you throw it outside and back behind the receiver so he can adjust to a back shoulder. He left it in the worst spot, which is both deep and inside, where they have literally no shot of getting it.
Oh, I was like, who is that? That's Shedrick Jackson.
We're just getting everybody on the roster in there tonight.
Apparently. So interestingly enough, when you look at the market shares for the primetime games for big market teams, even when they're not good,
mm-hmm.
they absolutely dwarf the ratings because that you would get for a small market team that's doing well and is going to put some better football content on the screen. The population centers, New York is split, and so is LA. So they're actually bigger cities. Chicago's the 3rd largest market, but it's the largest undivided market in the country. And everybody's going to watch the Bears game whether or not they suck, as evidenced by the numbers of like the Chicago-Carolina game. Very, very well-rated game. NFL is going to make money off that because of eyeballs on the game, not because of the quality of the game on the field. And while that, can sort of upset purists, oh, Browning just took one in the mug. Oh, where's the flag?
Still got it off, though.
There it is.
Oh, my God. He almost made that catch, though.
I know, but then he got the flag. Speaking of underthrown deep balls.
Yeah, right.
Okay, lot going on this play. So defensive pass interference is the flag down the field. Irwin, as you mentioned, almost still made the catch. It was Rocky Sin was the defender, guilty of the pass interference, but Browning takes one right in the mug as he lets this ball go. And the reason Rocky Sin's going to get that flag every time is he never turned his head.
Yeah, got to turn around.
He was trying to time it so that his chest, at first his hand, and then he realized he was there early, so he spread his hands out. He tried to give himself the extra half step and run his chest to chest, and he just hoped that his chest hit the receiver's chest like as the ball was getting there. Ends up being early, never turned his head around. It's going to be a flag every time.
Ooh. Nice little counter run off a jet sweep to the jet sweep going the other way. Again, the diversity of the Bengals run game tonight's been really, really interesting relative to their first game.
And the inside run game, especially.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've had a couple hit outside, but most of their damage has been done in between the tackles, but they're doing it in fun and creative way. Like, they're not just running duo. It's, hey, we're running inserts, we're running split flow zone, we're running power.
Man. Look at Browning's feet.
I know. He didn't used to do that.
No, his feet look so much better. He's been putting in work. Credit where credit is due. Was not my favorite quarterback coming out. Again, I thought he had some nice qualities, some nice traits, but playing quarterback is so much more than traits or ability to hit one play or whatever else. His movement within the pocket was not at this tier. Not really.
It wasn't functional at all.
He was athletic. He was certainly a good athlete, but being a good athlete and moving well within the pocket are not the same thing. Look at that ball.
Wow. And okay, for him,
right on him.
For him to identify, hey, they're bringing 4 weak, and to get Mixon up, basically being a sniffer, but behind the tackle to plug that up. And he's like, hey, I'm going to have time. Like, I know I'm going to have one coming free off the edge, but as long as the one who's coming free is outside and not the inside, like, I'm going to have time to get this thing off. Like, obviously it wasn't complete, but like, okay, so he's got pocket movement. He can handle protections. Like,
the ball was in an accurate spot too. Like,
it was just good play from the DB, but
great defensive play, but that is a very catchable ball and what amounts to hot near the goal line.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Way better than he used to be. As someone who watched a lot of Jake Browning because he went to school locally, he's gotten better, folks, like a lot better.
Bearden for $5. Eagles waive tackle Bernard Williams from the suspended reserve. Williams was suspended from the NFL in 1994, his rookie year, due to marijuana use. What?
Is this like they just got a new accountant who came in and was like, we still have this index card in the box. What should we do with this?
Also, if you want to know how far society's come, the fact that his career was ruined as a rookie in 94 for smoking pot. Good God.
Yeah. I was literally I was at Total Wine 2 nights ago because I was up in that neck of the woods and I was like, hey, I'm going to grab the bottle of rum that I showed you and one other thing. And I was walking through and they were doing the little taste pours, kind of the Costco, hey, do you want to try some whatever? And there's a group of 3 friends there. And so she's the, Total Wine employees pouring the little shots of, I think it was tequila. And, she's handing them out. She's like, oh, I'm going to need to see your ID. And she said, oh, I'm not drinking. She said, oh, you're not trying one? She goes, oh, no, I'm not a drinker. I'm a pot smoker. Like, as I'm walking through the store and I'm like, how times have changed. Like,
I don't drink the poison.
Oh no! Straight up gonna go out in the parking lot and get high.
Did you see Snoop's announcement today?
No.
Snoop put out a message saying he gave up smoking pot. He's done. Which to me feels like there's a marketing angle for like branded gummies or something.
Super Bowl ad coming.
For gummies. It's got to be a gummies thing though. Like it has to be. Because he didn't say he gave up marijuana, he gave up smoking.
Well, okay.
It's probably that. He's about to go make a bunch of money on a new business venture.
For sure. And good on him. Good on him.
Reminds me of Milton from Office Space and how he was fired, but nobody ever told him. / there was an HR issue. Yeah, exactly.
Red stapler.
I'm gonna burn this whole building down.
Burn down the facility. Give me my red stapler.
Everything will be on fire. I haven't seen that movie in forever.
We were just talking about it last night on Bears Over Beers for Matt Eberflus. What is it you'd say that you do here?
Fire people up, EJ.
Is that true? Somebody made it was my buddy Sam Householder. Shout out to Sam, one of the contributors at Windy City Gridiron as well. Made the observation comparison that like Eberflus is a college coach. Like a lot of the stuff he does would work in college, not only system wise, but also the way he approaches players, like the whole hits thing, where T is the ball.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that sign, I thought it was a parody. Like I didn't think that was real the first time I saw it.
Well, the funny thing is it takes T away from being something T should be, which is takeaways or turnovers.
Let's go, Gus Buzz!
There's a little
go.
Gus cutback. That's a classic Gus cutback for big yards. I think especially in this game.
Hold on, I think that might, in my in-game entry, I think that might have given me what I needed because I needed 28 yards. And I think that might have gotten it for me.
Look at the cutback. All right, this is my 30-second soapbox for Gus. Gus is wildly underappreciated as a runner in this league. Like
he's good.
He is a really good running back who for years has been behind more high-profile running backs in Baltimore. But when you look at Gus's production and his efficiency, yeah, is that Cole? It is. It's Charlie Kohler.
How many catches does he have this year? Probably not many.
Like 4, I think.
He does exist. Also,
his uniform is real clean. That's how I thought. Well, that's it's not somebody else I was thinking of.
So Gus, I took higher on 35.5 rushing. He's at 33.
And
so I feel decent.
He just got it.
There we go.
So
there we go.
And
one down.
And that's 2 more carries. So I'm up from 4 to 6 or 7 at this point.
This 4-banger, if I hit on all 4, because I didn't insure it because I'm stupid, but if I hit on all 4, I get $100. So we're positive on the night if I hit it.
Can't be angry with that.
And then I took higher on Joe Mixon at 15.5 rushing attempts. He came into the half at like 7 or 8. He's already at 13, so that one I feel good about.
All right,
so I think we're Pratt to get 2 assists, and I need Zay to get 14 yards.
Oh, there's another one. I was going to say Gus is at 6. I think that's 7.
Yeah.
So we're marching right towards the 11. I think it was 11, or was it 11?
It was over 11.
Okay, so he's got to get 12. So All right, we're at 7, marching towards 12, and again, they're holding for this game pretty solid lead. And towards the end, there's going to be some carries.
Cam Taylor-Britt's out. Quad injury. That's devastating.
All right. Mitchell. And they're putting him in the pattern.
Are you going to get your 7 receiving yards?
They're not.
This is your Khalil Shakir.
Let's go.
You got your Khalil Shakir line. Let's go. It fucking worked against all odds. See, where is it? Keaton
I
Mitchell
thought
higher than
there's-
6.5 receiving. There it is.
I was like, there's no way they're going to throw it to him because they line him up out wide, like literally boundary receiver. All right.
So
Let's
this
go,
one is
Mitchell.
also insured. So if we get 4 out of 5 on this one, we get $25. So we may be positive tonight, EJ. We may be positive.
That's what happens when I have you send me all the options before the game with like a couple hours to take a look at them.
Yeah, why didn't we do that the entire year? I would have made so much more money.
You are talking to a couple of guys that have started, and I mean started by like fired up streams like 10 minutes before they went live, like, I don't know, 3 times this year.
With regularity, honestly. Like, you guys have no idea how often, like, when we go live, like, we sat down and got set up, like, 90 seconds before. We just go.
I would say it's more like 5 minutes, but we're still working out, like, can you hear me? Is that coming through? Do you have that lined up for the audio?
Winging it.
It is a circus on Thursdays, but it does work out, and we are extremely glad that you are all hanging out with us, watching, what is honestly a decent game. We're as upset about the injuries as you are because a lot of the good players in this game have gone out injured, but still got a very competitive division game, not in any way decided. Lots of time left, 20 minutes left in this one. Could go either way. So
I just want to get more Keaton Mitchell carries. Like, I love when he gets the ball.
Oh, Lamar. Oh, what? Oh, no. No.
Is he okay?
He's not. That ankle.
Oh, shit.
He went down with nothing. Like, he gets away from that, and he goes right here. Watch this. He goes to plant. It just gives. Oh, man.
God, this game is cursed.
Oh, boy. God. He really needs to play from the pocket for the rest of the night.
Well, it kind of looked like he tripped, kind of. But also,
it's like the third time that's happened tonight, though. And now he's taken off on an absolute carry, like a real one. Wow. All right.
He's definitely hurting, though. Like, you can see when he gets up, he's like, ow, 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 ow.
Next person tells me Lamar Jackson isn't tough as getting punched in the mouth. Like, straight in the mouth.
Like, he's got that.
He just, like, plants and goes, and he is driving. That is 100% a quarterback run, and he was just going for it. Crazy.
When he gets up, he has the same walk of, like, you ever, like, just freshly step on a Lego, and then you're kind of like doing like a little hop dance because you really don't want to admit to yourself how much that really hurt. That's exactly what that looked like to me.
Oh, man.
Curtis Rogers for $2. What the hell happened to Jelani Woods? I mean, it's not like there's a lack of weapons in Indy, and they're featuring Pittman like crazy. Josh Downs getting more involved. Pierce got finally more involved a little bit last week. JT, they've used him a little bit as a receiver. Like, there's just a lot of guys there,
Well, and the other thing was AR started off with a real affinity for Kylan Granson, who was another player that I liked out of SMU, and he became that, across the middle, a little bit late, security blanket, hitch, all the routes rookies go to when things are breaking down and you got to get something out of it. AR found a pretty early rhythm with Kylan Granson, and
he's on IR. When did he go on IR?
Who?
Jelani. When did that happen? I just thought he wasn't getting snaps.
No, it was earlier, but Granson was sort of that early security blanket for AR, and I don't know when Jelani. I knew it was early, but
I just thought he wasn't on the field because when I was watching all 22, I noticed that, but I didn't think he was on IR. I totally missed that.
Yeah.
I mean, that explains why he wasn't out there.
For sure.
He was on IR. How about that?
Start of the year. Oh, Cody says start of the year. Training camp. Okay, that I missed. I thought he played a couple of games.
Yeah,
apparently
okay.
not.
Well, that explains
Hasn't
a lot.
Played at all this year. That's what's up with him. Thanks, chat. Appreciate that.
That being said,
keeping us straight.
We technically weren't wrong. They have been throwing a lot to Pittman.
All right, I'm gonna go back in the chat here because I saw some kind of craziness.
Like a super chat or?
No. Oh, what was that?
Willis Honeycutt for $2. Brett, what ancient Sumerian god did you scorn? I think the Ravens did it, not me.
I don't know.
Training camp on pup, got activated, hasn't played yet. Okay, so he's still in his window. Yeah, I totally missed that. I was just watching Colts All 22 last week, and I noticed he wasn't in the field. I didn't know why. That's what I get for not Googling. How about that? It's a lesson we learn. When in doubt, Google shit.
When in doubt, Google shit. Okay, this is the one from Kieran. EJ is Coleman's savior. He should put a picture of him above his fireplace. I thought I saw that.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, his wife would say that I am, but that's a whole different matter.
Yeah, Nikki always tells me, she's like, what would you do without EJ? And I'm like, fail a lot.
Less.
a lot more than I do.
Last, yeah. Or more in the bad column, one of the two.
And Ogletree's been very good. Even if Jelani Woods comes back, it's going to be tough to get snaps. We have like 6 TEs. I mean, they had 6 TEs even in the offseason. So
they're putting the Ravens-Bears trade on the screen. I feel like we need to put dollars saved on there, right?
What do you mean? They still paid Edmonds a fuckload.
Oh, way less than Roquan.
It was like, what, $2 million a year?
Over time, it was way less.
So are you talking about the guarantees?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
I don't know what the difference of guarantees was. Actually, I'll look that up. I'm curious.
Well, and the fact it doesn't look great because Edmonds hasn't played super well in Eberflus's system, and he's been out recently the last couple of weeks.
At least Roquan's earned it, you know?
Yeah, and, you know, Edmonds was definitely the top linebacker free agent available in the offseason, and it looked good, but, you know, Roquan's playing the lights out. Edmonds has been kind of slow to start. Certainly doesn't help that our boy Jack Sanborn has come in and, you know, played very well, which is how he was playing at the end of last season. It's kind of like, well, so did you really need him and TJ Edwards?
What's interesting is in terms of total money, there's a big difference. It's $100 million for Roquan, 72 for Tremaine. However, in terms of guarantees, it's actually somewhat close. It's at $50 million for Tremaine, 60 for Roquan. So I have to imagine the Roquan deal towards the end when the guarantees run out, because it's basically they just had the Tremaine deal, $2 million higher plus an extra year that's not guaranteed. I assume when they get to the last year that's not guaranteed, there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
Is that my Odafe Owe sack? Yes, it is.
There you go.
Let's go.
And he runs onto the field like right before. Let's go. Oh. All right. The Seahawks inception, 1999. I'm going to the Texans game wearing Texans jersey, Rangers World Series hat, and what else? Hang on.
Spurs sweatpants.
Spurs sweatpants. Best part about being from San Antonio is I have no regional loyalty, and I control the Houston fans while still being on their side. Oh, okay. Golf clap. Like, also, well played.
Shawshank Inception, elite name. Every time it pops up, I get giddy. It's so funny.
Yep. And with us almost every week, we appreciate that so deeply in terms of the repeat viewers. Oh, Browning unleashing it. Jamar out of bounds. Oh, great
Almost
catch,
had it. Almost had it.
Yeah. No, I mean, he caught it, but you know what he's grumbling about beneath his visor.
Joe would have left that in bounds.
Yep, that's right. Joe would have put that inside. Absolutely.
Also, as a Spurs fan, Shawshank, have you gone and seen Wemby live yet? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I plan on doing that when they come to LA. I think it's in February. I'm gonna go see Wemby live just because I feel like that's history, and I should really be there when LeBron plays against Wemby. Like I should.
You got to tell me when that game is. I told you.
I know it's in February. I just can't remember exactly when in February. I think it's like right after the Super Bowl.
Maybe I'll just stop by on the way home then. I'm going to be gone practically the whole month anyways, because I'm thinking about road tripping from Texas to Vegas.
JT's here. JT O'Sullivan of the QB School. Best of the best. Like literally the best of the best. He put out, was it Jordan Love today? Or maybe Jordan Love yesterday? I still got to check that one out. And I think he also put out a Herbert video. Still on my list. I'm probably going to be watching that tonight while I'm taking my notes. For people that don't know JT, which you absolutely should know JT at this point.
I was going to say, who doesn't know JT?
But if you don't know JT and you want to learn about football, he is like easily, I'm talking easily, best resource you're going to find on YouTube. Not just in terms of like volume, but quality. Like, I don't know how the man puts out as many videos as he does. Like, it's actually stunning to me how crazy fast he is at putting everything out. But in terms of the quality of the analysis, like, it beats us all. So he's not only got the most quantity of anybody, but also the best quality out of anybody. He's Mount Rushmore. He's all 4 spots on Mount Rushmore. So go watch his stuff.
It's at the same time awesome and maddening.
Hope all is well. It's well that you're here, JT, and we hope you're doing great too.
Yeah.
Also, if you could please go be quarterback's coach for the Bears, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Please go save Justin.
And your sweatshirt's going to be on the way very soon.
Oh, let's go.
We do not have an exact date for when those drop, but it is. We'll just put up the little meme with the husky peeking over the edge. It's coming.
YOLO Swaggin says, Brett, permission to join the Texans bandwagon since the Bengals season is cooked. You are more than welcome to watch Houston Joe Burrow since he beat real Joe Burrow. Sorry, had to dig in there, but yes, all our boy the Texans bandwagon. In terms of like easy to root for teams, I would say the Texans are up there right now. They're young, they're plucky, they got D'Amico, they have an exciting young quarterback. Like, all is well in Houston, you know.
Oh man,
if you're ever gonna do it, now's the time.
Yeah, we got the question last night on Bears Over Beers. If Eberflus comes back, what are some good AFC teams to root for? My two were Baltimore and the Texans, because I really think, like, you can throw Miami in there as well, because I just love watching what Mike McDaniel does every week. And you know, Vic with that defensive staff. Here we go.
There's the Keaton Mitchell. God, he's like Tecmo Bowl, man. It's just instant. The change of direction is instant.
Speaking of best segue we're ever going to get, our clothing partner, Homage Clothing, unleashed a Heroes of Tecmo Bowl line today in all of its 8-bit glory.
That's awesome.
And they have a Christian Okoye shirt, which I am absolutely going to get, because I actually got to meet Christian Okoye when I went to the draft this year in Kansas City, which for me just blew my football-loving mind.
Very large human, by the way.
He has reduced greatly in size. He is still fit. I mean, like nails fit, but he is way smaller than I remember him as a young football fan, because for those of you that don't know Christian Okoye, running back, nicknamed the Nigerian Nightmare, played at come on, college.
Oh,
can you do it?
No. Where did he play?
Azusa Pacific.
Oh, I knew it was small, but I was like, you got
great me. Football story. He came on a scholarship from Nigeria. He was a track athlete, track and field, so mostly field, but also track, because he was crazy fast. But the football coach walked by one day and he was like, "Dude, what is that?" And they were like, "Yep." And so he went out for football. He'd never played American football in his life. Ended up going to the NFL and being a tremendous running back. But this was the big shoulder pads era. He ran with a neck roll as a running back. He was an absolute monster on the field. Just go to YouTube, type in Christian Okoye. You'll see all kinds of fun highlights of him just bashing over people. He is still incredibly fit, but he is He's shorter than I am. And I was like, what?
I mean,
how is this possible?
5'11", ideal running back dimensions.
Oh, I understand. But I swear to God, just from the sort of Paul Bunyan-esque, highlights I saw on TV as a kid, I was like, oh, he almost had
Lamar! It. Oh, my God. Did he get that?
Nope. You missed him by this much.
What a throw, though. On the move.
It's a great throw, but if JT's still here, he's like, foul ball, out of bounds. Got to throw that one in bounds. And now Turner's down. Come on.
All right, let's see. So
how many seconds? 10 seconds? God. Is it a 10-second play? It is. It's got to be.
Close to
there it is. 10 seconds.
I mean, got out of it, ducked it. Oh, my God. So,
just foul ball.
If JT's still here, he can speak onto how difficult that is in terms of when you're a right-handed quarterback and you're running to your left, in terms of, and especially with how quick Lamar does it, in terms of that kind of like little jump in the air so that you can coil yourself and then uncoil and he does it so quick.
Absolutely.
So quick in terms of coiling and uncoiling to throw it when he's rolling to his left. It's unbelievable, man.
It's a laser-like flick, and again, missed it by this much.
Yeah,
literally.
God, he's explosive. Atwater disagrees about a coin. Yeah, that's true. Steve Atwater. Oh man.
Yeah, he might.
Human missile.
We could just ask, Largent how he feels about Atwater.
JT, by the way, in chat did say if we think that Houston keeps the staff together. It depends. Slowick's obviously the natural guy who might get into head coaching talk here, especially if he gets a rookie to be an MVP consideration. But it really depends on what's going to happen with Ben Johnson, what's going to happen with Kellen, what's going to happen with it's possible that Canales gets some looks, Petzing gets some looks, Mike McDonald will get some looks,
Waldron.
Who else is out there that might?
Yeah, Slowick to me feels like that guy that doesn't have as big a resume, but sort of gets ahead of steam in the interview process and ends up, catching a job a year early, as opposed to guys like EB and Dable that went through the process like multiple times and ended up, thinking, oh, they're going to go back, and they weren't expected to go back. Like Slowick feels like the one and done with, as hot as his emergence has been, might hook the job what we would all consider maybe a year early and just be, the guy that goes into interviews and wows the owner, and that's that.
I think the other factor, which we have to take into account, is he's a Shanahan guy, right? Came from that kind of general tree. And anytime that is on the resume, owners are automatically going to gravitate towards that, because in terms of like success rate for coaching hires, that general tree, the Shanahan / Gruden West Coast, over like that part of the West Coast tree, all those branches, it's that and Andy Reid in terms of who's produced the most successful coaching hires, right? So, and I know you as a Bears fan bristle at that, but also look at Doug Peterson, that counts too, right?
For sure.
And so I would say that is working in his favor, kind of like how anybody that Sean McVay was remotely related to was getting jobs for a while. Like
anybody that took an elevator ride with Sean McVay was getting a job.
If you had a cup of coffee in San Francisco, you're at least going to get an interview. It just comes down to if he wants it, right? Because Ben Johnson ultimately decided that he was going to wait for the right job, not a job. And, D'Amico did the same thing. He wanted to wait for the right job, not a job, and he ended up getting the right one in Houston. And it's possible that Bobby kind of has that same thought of like, hey, if God, what would let's throw a dart out there and say the Buffalo offers. Let's say the Buffalo job happens to be open. I'm not saying that McDermott's going to get fired, but let's just say that he does. Like, that's going to be one of the most attractive head coaching openings in the last 10 years, right? Because you got Josh Allen.
Yep.
Like, I could see Slowick maybe going for that one compared to if Chicago ends up with, like, not a top 2 pick and they have, like, 3 and 5, like, less attractive job, right? If you're not going to get Caleb or May. So it just depends on, I think, what's available.
Yeah. JT says, in his opinion, league is coming for everyone who has anything to do with Stroud.
I could see it.
It's going to be very hard to look away. That is the comet going through the NFL season sky this year. And I get it. I understand it. And yeah, it is going to be about the opportunity. If he looks and says, man, I could come back and get another year of experience, work with CJ again. That's also going to be great, build my success here. But, the Buffalo job's not going to be open next year if that occurs, or whichever job it is where he looks at the landing spot. I would say most likely he has a quarterback. I don't think he's going to go to a spot where he gets to pick a rookie, even in a very good quarterback class. That seems like too many jumps for the first job. There's enough to overcome in your first head coaching job without starting off with a rookie. And we all know that takes a year, even when things work out extremely well. And right now, let's be honest, they're working out better with CJ Stroud than they have with anybody ever. Like, Herbert's rookie year was the standard for best rookie years from a quarterback in terms of statistical output, and Stroud is on his way to crushing that. And so, yeah, if you're in charge of that, league's going to give you a nod.
You're going to get looks. Miss Super Chat, hearing reports that the drone above the stadium was registered to Connor Stalions' name, appears to be preparing for his next job.
Well played. Nice job, chat. Love you much.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Missed one from Joshua Hall. Apologies for that, Josh. I know you guys won't be streaming on Thanksgiving, but will you stream the Black Friday game?
We haven't talked about it.
Yeah,
but
we haven't talked about it. I forgot
Black
there
Friday
was
game,
one.
Obviously,
honestly.
yeah, Black Friday game new this year. It's possible.
Actually,
it's possible.
Isn't it a Texans game? Hold on.
I don't know.
Now that I think about it.
Well, the other thing is we have been trying to arrange for a couple of weeks now a chance to give all of our patrons what they so richly deserve, which is one of the Q&A sessions that we promise is a patron benefit. We have been slack about that. We are going to get back on the horse. We were looking at tomorrow. That didn't work out. So Black Friday was also a possibility for that. If we don't get it done that week, we will get it done the next week. Trust us. We're thinking about it. We'll be there soon.
Oh, yeah. Next Friday is Black Friday, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Next Friday is Black Friday. I was alerted to that this morning when I asked a podcast guest to come on next Thursday, and he said, I'm going to have trouble recording during Thanksgiving. And I went, damn. Because as you know, my calendar head was in February this morning, and I was just like, oh, yeah, next Thursday, let's do it. And he was like, it's Thanksgiving? And I was like, yeah, about that.
So 14-point for the Ravens, 14-point lead for the Ravens. Start of fourth quarter. Jake Brown.
Okay, let's check in on our first half rosters and see how we're doing, and then we'll check in on your halftime one.
So in terms of the first half ones, let's see here. So you are doing decent on Zay. You need like 8 more yards.
Okay.
Keaton you hit. Jamar, you got no shot. Boyd, maybe. He's at 5 targets. You took lower than 7.5. So you can afford 2 more targets to Boyd. And you need 5 more rushing attempts from Gus. I hit on Mixon. I hit on OA. I'm probably not going to hit on any of the other 3. So that's fine. And then Zay, again, I need like 9 more yards. Pratt, I need 2 tackle assists. And Mixon, I need 2 more rushing attempts. So,
hey, Brett.
What's that?
They threw to a tight end.
And I bet you it wasn't Irv Smith.
You would be correct.
Yeah. Shocker, EJ. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. I told you that was the line that I was like, ugh. full admission, I almost bet on 2 kickers just to mess with you.
And neither would have hit tonight. Neither would have hit.
I was definitely going to bet on Evan Mack. I have to go back and see what the line was on Mack. I think it was 7 points total. Wow. And I think he already has that.
Oh, there's a target to Boyd. Okay, so we can afford one more.
Yeah. Well, come on, Jake. Find some other targets.
Mushroomism says, I'm pretty sure my first super chat got killed. I apologize. There's only a certain amount that I can scroll back up to look in the past. So if I missed that one, I apologize. Don't give any more money, but do let me know what it is in the chat, and we can get to that one.
And all right. Mac was 6.5 kicking points. So I believe he already has that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go.
Right?
I don't actually know.
Well, if he has 2 field goals and an extra point,
yeah, that would count 7. Then. Yeah, that would.
He has 7. So I almost bet on a kicker just to mess with you, and I would have hit too. Which, if you
the one time,
if you are a bootleg follower, you realize that I loathe betting on kickers, but I would have done it this one time just to mess with you.
Oh, Shawshank says he's going to see Wemby for the first time on Wednesday. There we go. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the freakish, historically good prospect that I still can't believe the league let San Antonio get. But of course they did.
It isn't about let. It's about ping pong balls.
It's more just like, of course he goes to the Spurs. Of course. It's like Caleb going to the Patriots. Like, duh. Okay. Which actually, like, the fact that that's not totally unlikely is that Caleb's going to be a Patriot. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? 2 decades wasn't enough for these people? God.
No, it was not.
They have, like,
it was not
2 bad years. And it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, hey, if you live in Green Bay, it's 3, so. All right, there's your Keaton Mitchell carries.
Oh, man. Let's see. Valid Nerd for $10. Assuming the Bears take Williams, does Fields go to a team like Seattle or San Francisco? Would that be a good fit? Also, as a lifelong Bears fan, the Ravens are my copium team because they have an actual front office. Keaton.
Keaton Mitchell carries. You got 2 in a row here. I need some Gus carries, though. We said get Keaton more carries. I'm good with that. Now shut that down. Go back to Gus.
Fields to a team like Seattle or San Francisco. I don't think Fields would go to that team or that type of situation. I think Fields would go to a team that can't get one of the top quarterbacks because they're too good, but also needs to replace their quarterback because they're not good enough, i.e. Atlanta. That's what makes sense to me, at least. Also, I think there's still like 1 million Bears personnel in Atlanta.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, last year there was 17 people previously associated with the Bears in Atlanta, either in the front office or on the roster. Oh, hey, Ozzy's in the house.
Let's go.
If you're not familiar with Ozzie Newsome, get familiar with Ozzie Newsome. As a player, as a general manager, one of the NFL all-time greats in both areas of endeavor. Absolute classic. Ozzy's the best.
ATL or Pitt for Justin Fields. That's from JT. I would agree. I think Fields with those weapons and ideally with Arthur Smith not putting him at running back be great.
Well, see, if he put him at quarterback, would he just do wildcats to keep the ball out of his hands because he likes to keep the ball away?
It'd be keepers with 10 blockers. Like nobody releasing on routes, everybody blocking all the time.
See, here's the conspiracy here with Atlanta. We get as many skill position players as we can. So no matter who he gives direct snaps to, he's giving it to one of the playmakers that the entire fantasy football world is begging him to give touches. We make too many for him to avoid.
Just for that, Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Let's take Malik Neighbors at 9th overall and still give Jonnu Smith touches in the red zone.
Don't. That hurts. Ouch. Oh, man. Indians are the Steelers going to the Super Bowl?
I mean, they keep winning
Yeah.
despite
Okay.
having every reason not to win. They keep
How
winning.
how is Lamar still freaking moving on that ankle?
I don't know, man. But he's clearly not feeling good. But
No,
adrenaline's a
but
hell of a drug, man.
he's still like twice as quick as the both of us. Oh, he slips. Oh,
Yeah, a little more than twice. A little more than twice.
yeah, even with only one ankle, which is super scary.
Speaking of Atlanta, so I saw Lamar live in his rookie year back in 2018. Saw him in Atlanta. And that was the fastest player that I've ever seen on a football field with my own two eyes. Like that, unreal. Like he's still obviously fast, but he was faster back then, right? He's put on a little bit of weight since then. And I have never seen a human being move like that, ever. And I still, again, I haven't seen Tyreek live in my own eyes, but I have to imagine that would be the only one that I think like comes close.
Yeah, you know, DK at full sprint, like when they don't get hands on him, that's
he's up there.
He's literally Olympic level fast. Like he went to the Olympic trials and didn't look out of place at 230 pounds.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Like he came in like whatever was third or fourth, but like at 230, he outweighed everybody there by like 30 pounds and still came in like third. He's a freak athlete. So it is a whole different level when you're on the field at any field. Like we've been on the field for Shrine Bowl practices, Senior Bowl practices. You know, it is a very different thing. We were on the, sidelines during warm-ups for the Cowboys, and they're not even going full speed during the Cowboys warm-ups, but like the receiver went by us at probably 80% speed, and it was like, damn.
Yeah, it was CD jogging, and we're like, that's jogging?
That's faster than most sprinters you will see. It is a whole different level of athleticism.
Mushroomism said Vikings with Fields, and who will get the Dobbs experience next year? I don't think Chicago would trade Fields to the Vikings because they know that he would burn them to the ground, and they don't want that smoke. Like Vikings with Justin Jefferson and Addison, or like Fields with those weapons and O'Connell and the tackles that they got, like Chicago doesn't want to fuck around with that. So they're not going to send him to Minnesota. As great as it would be for Fields personally, they're not going to do that because it will hurt them. As for who's going to get the next Josh Dobbs experience next year, oh man,
I think we should mandate it as a like league rule that Josh Dobbs has to play for at least 3 teams during a season.
I think
he can just go around like a nurse or a MASH unit and just like pick up teams' fortunes and then move on to the next one.
And if you get him, you have to start him within 4 days, or he goes back in the pool. Like that's what it is.
I love it. That's great.
And he's just like 32 teams emergency quarterback. But it's gonna work every time.
Well, I mean, you're a hockey player. You know about the emergency goalie.
Yeah, no, just some dude who's like working at the Steak and Shake down the street. You just call him in.
Like Dobbs just becomes full-time. Remember you had like full-time passer when you were playing like Nerf football in the street? Like full-time QB. Like Josh Dobbs just becomes like full-time emergency QB for the NFL. Like, hey man, we're down to Tommy DeVito. Could you show up? Like, yeah, I got you. I'll come in and pass for like 218 yards and 2 touchdowns and you'll win. Okay, sweet.
I don't even need to know the offense.
No, I obviously don't. Like that's amazing. JT says full topper Vic on real turf was joke fast. Stupid. For those of you that don't know, field turf and old school AstroTurf, quote unquote real turf. Real turf didn't give, so that's why it was awful for injuries, but it was also the fastest freaking surface out there because you could plant and drive in stupid ways. And somebody like Michael Vick or somebody mentioned, Chris Johnson on that stuff, forget about it.
Randy.
Like, Yeah, I mean, even Randall Cunningham back in the day,
Yeah.
which was the Vic precursor, he played on the Widowmaker turf at Veterans Stadium.
Oh, just
That
just the
literally,
the painted green cement.
yeah, no,
That's
I mean
basically what
that
it was.
that surface literally took 2 ACLs from a Bears player on the same play.
Oh
Guy
my
blew up
god.
both of his ACLs in the same
Just running
play
on a
on
bed of
that
nails.
surface. Yep. Now, having run and fallen and done athletic things on old turf. Oh man, Browning is just running for his life.
Dude, again, he ended up getting sacked, but he has shown some really nice work in the pocket tonight. Like better than he ever
Yeah.
did at UW.
And better than he did early in the league too. He got some chances to start or play significant downs early in the league, and he did not have a lot of the skills he has now. So he's not perfect. He's certainly not Joe. Nobody is. He is a lot better. I mean, the backup quarterback ranks around the NFL. There are a handful of guys that can come in and actually function, move your team up and down the field. He looks like he could be, knocking on the door of that rank of dudes, which is not a full compliment. Not every team has one of those, contrary to popular opinion.
JT, if you're still here, if Joe's injury is serious, we're going to get a lot of Jake Browning this season. Can I humbly request a Jake Browning breakdown? Because I would love to get your take on him in a full video if Joe's going to be out a significant amount of time, which it kind of seems like he is. Like wrist injuries, especially on a throwing wrist for a quarterback, like can't imagine that's a quick one to come back from.
Cody says, which player was that, EJ? I think it was Wendell Davis, but I could be wrong. I'll look it up.
Of course, you know that.
Well, I mean, I did bring it up.
Cement with an old throw rug over it.
Yeah, it was Wendell Davis.
Oh man.
Yeah, you just type in Wendell Davis knee injury, and the first thing is career ender on AstroTurf, 1993. How bad was the Veterans Stadium turf? Wendell Davis is a good player too. Yikes.
Just ask Maple Leaf fans losing to a Zamboni driver a couple years ago. I remember that.
Yes,
that was great.
Yes.
That was
I'm sorry. Good. Canada has a major edge on us in sports rules. If you're not familiar with the CFL plays obviously a very different brand of football, but some really quality ball. And if you are not familiar with the Rouge in the CFL, go look it up. It's a fantastic play, completely different rule that has really no allegory in the NFL. And then go look up the emergency goalie rule in the NHL because it's so freaking cool. It's I'm sorry, Canada has it all over us in terms of sports rules.
JT says Jake is probably the best Bengals QB from Folsom. I remember Jake killing it in high school. Baller. Where did Browning go to?
People always ask me, oh, did you see him in high school? I have enough trouble keeping up with 350 to 400 guys every year in the NFL and which colleges they went to, because now there's 5 or 3.
I assume it's a Folsom high school, but I'm wondering where.
Yeah, no,
Folsom, California. Sacramento.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I didn't even know that Emeka Ibuka before this summer was a local kid that went to high school right down the road from me in Steilacoom, Washington. I knew about him at Ohio State, but I didn't know where he came from. And that's the same thing. There's a lot of Washington high school players that ended up playing there was a pipeline from East Side players to the Stanford O-line for a while. There's 3 or 4 guys that made the league out of the Stanford O-line. They were all East Side, Bellevue, Kirkland, all up in there. They all went to Stanford. I didn't know they played high school there.
Apparently Browning was the 3rd rated quarterback in his class, a 4-star. Had no idea. I mean,
no, he was
a
very, very highly rated college prospect. He was talked about very early in his tenure, and then was one of those guys that, again, in college, he made progress, but he didn't show that tremendous amount of growth. And, so I think he was more highly rated at the beginning of his college career and just didn't show a lot of growth. And a lot of guys kind of moved past him. So by the time it came to the draft, he was definitely one of the second tier quarterbacks, obviously still drafted, or still draftable. But everybody had kind of moved on to folks that had brighter stars at that point. But no, he made headlines signing with UW because he was so highly rated.
So I know JT went to UC Davis, so he's definitely plugged in with that area of the country in terms of high school stars. Did JT grow up in NorCal? I'm a SoCal guy. I wasn't sure if he's. Oh no, he's.
Oh, here it is. There it is.
Nice ball.
Wow. OBJ, sorry he turned around because Pratt came all the way down the field to hit him.
I didn't know JT was an LA guy. He grew up in Burbank. How about that?
Flag. Tell me this is okay. DPI. We get to keep it. We get to keep a deep passing play, Coleman.
For once.
Oh, it's a great ball. This is a great ball. Nice adjustment by OBJ as well, but great ball. Give your guy a chance. Makes a nasty move on Turner. Little veteran shove over the shoulder. Love it.
I will say, Odell's still got juice, man.
Yeah.
Even after all the injuries, even at his age, he can still accelerate.
What did I call for pregame?
Deep shot to Odell.
Deep shots to receivers on the Ravens not named Flowers. Not that we don't like Zay. We do. He's still in there. But, man, that's kind of been their one-trick pony down the field. Uh-oh. Wow. Okay. God, one ankle. Still running the keeper.
So fast. Oh, JT lived in Folsom. How about that? The more you know.
There you go.
So, JT, in that area, you probably know. So, if you're familiar with Auburn, California, probably 45 minutes, hour outside of Sacramento, that is where most of my family is, out in Auburn. Any NorCal folks here may or may not know it. It's not like the smallest small town, but not exactly big either.
Guy with no vowels. Lamar is not real. Yeah, no, he's not. He looks like a Build-A-Player in many ways. Oh, and now we're getting Justice Hill carries just to spike me. Joseph Osai's in there.
Oh, damn. Gio Carmazzi's dad was JT's high school coach. No shit.
Of course he was.
No shit.
That's hilarious.
That's amazing. Small world, man. I wonder what he's up to. I wonder if he still is on the goat farm. I thought he was last time when they did that documentary. I thought they said he was on a goat farm or something out there, just kind of chilling, living his best life.
All right.
There's your Gus Carey.
I was going to say, there's another Gus Carey. Let's go.
Let's see. How high was Gio drafted? I know it was pretty. And it was a lot higher than Tom. He was third round pick. That's what it was. Hofstra. How about it?
Hofstra. Wasn't Corbett a Hofstra guy?
Probably. I'm just thinking for that area, walking onto the Jets, probably, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Another carry, another touchdown. So Gus pretty much seals it at this point.
Running power and hitting power backside is not common.
It's not. Oh, man, I love that.
To have a kick out front side and a puller going front side and you're still hitting it backside means that somebody messed up. That normally doesn't happen.
Is that 10? Is that 10? Are they gonna do me like that?
10 what?
Carries?
Ooh, it might be.
Are you
gonna get screwed here?
We just had to get the Justice Hill carry in there for 1 yard because that was important.
I think that might have been 10.
I think that's 10. He gets 2 touchdowns
Oh, EJ.
on 10 carry.
Oh, EJ.
2 touchdowns on 10 carries, and I'm going to come up short. That's funny. Man, just such a bruiser. I love the way Gus runs. He's such a quality back. Well, thanks to JT for hanging out with us for the better part of an hour. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, I JT, I can't tell you how many times when I'm like making dinner or something, I'll have one of his videos on. My wife comes home.
Oh, yeah.
She knows his voice by now.
Because there's 3 a day every day. It's ridiculous. Like I go up and I'm like, oh, look, a new JT video. So same thing. I'll be up doing something in the living room, like throw on a JT video as the background. Like, because there's new ones all the time.
And Nikki will be like, didn't you watch this one? I was like, no. That was week 9. This is week 10.
No. It looks like the other one, but it's different.
It's a new game, I promise.
I'm not just watching the same one over and over again. So we will have JT back on the pod this year. We had him on last year in our Build a Quarterback episode for the draft. I think we will have a similar but modified approach this year. If he will grace us with his time, we will have him back on Bootleg during draft season. That was a lot of fun last year. Loved his takes, not only about the quarterbacks, but also about sort of the categories that we chose and whether or not those mattered and which sort of small slice of those were more important to him, which is, fascinating insight for us. We're able to get that from a lot of experts. Same thing with Brandon Thorne on offensive line. And, Jordan Reed was kind enough to come on the show last year and give us his thoughts about the class overall. Really, really enjoyed the slate we had last year leading up to draft season. So we will try and duplicate that this year or exceed it. But yeah, JT will absolutely get the invite for that.
One of the big changes we're making to off-season content, by the way, and this is beyond draft, but I'm just want to prepare people for it.
Okay.
You and I have talked about it, but
always good to know because sometimes we haven't.
Yeah. So the off-season series, being 5 episodes a week, is very, very hard to do.
Yes, it is.
So we think we're going to do 4 episodes a week and have them individually on the teams. And then the division wrap-ups, we will find a way to disseminate that stuff out into the team-specific episodes. But yeah, I'm telling you, folks, we barely made it. Like, barely made it through the series last summer, okay? It was not a good situation towards the end there. We were dying, right? So we might
ass.
cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Same information, just less episodes.
Well, maybe not the Friday episode. The Friday episode was a bit of a kicker, but we'll also have we know what it is now. It was a big change last year, and
we definitely didn't realize that a multi-cam setup plus graphics and there's biting off more you can chew, and then there's that.
We were good till about a third of the way through the series, and then it all started rolling in tandem in terms of writing more, creating more, getting more edited, sending in assets, and then doing proofing. And like once all those tracks of work were running at the same time, we looked at each other and went, oh, because now we're stuck. Like we're in the middle of it. But we also are digging on some fun locations. So y'all responded to our shoots on location, and we had some fun, traveling around, getting to see some different places. So might have a little bit more of that with, maybe just one less episode. Man, Browning's getting thumped.
Yeah, they're teeing off now.
Yeah, they know they have to pass that sort of Sterling protection from early in the game, not holding up anymore. And good old Kyle Van Noy, the ageless Kyle Van Noy, took advantage of Orlando Brown Jr. Wow.
Yeah, Orlando's been really struggling this year, and I have to assume the groin injury is playing into that. But like Jonathan Grenard just crushed him last week. And he gave up like 8 pressures. That last pick from Burrow last week was because of Grenard just walking Orlando back into his lap. He's not right now. And, if Joe's out and you're 5-5 and you're like 1-4 in the conference and you're probably fucked anyway, you might as well shut Orlando down until he gets healthy, because it's not in his best interest to play through this. Like, he's not playing well, So,
yeah.
Mushroomism.
And
go for it.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mushroomism for $5. I think it was on my end. Hard. It's okay. It's probably my fault, honestly. Knowing my history is probably my fault. Just asking about more tips on working in sports business / media. Graduated with a master's in international business last year. Thank you. I guess it depends on what. Ooh, nice little run from Browning there. I guess it depends on what you're looking to do within sports business / media, because it is such a wide umbrella, right? Are you looking in terms of getting into content creation? Are you looking in terms of getting into the back end business at like a network or a publication, whether it's legacy media, new media? What do you want to do? Because when you say I want to work at sports business / media, I mean, almost any job you can think of, whether it's corporate or, whether it's marketing, content creation, accounting, like anything you could think of in the white collar world, you can do specifically within the sports business / media umbrella. So I would say figure out that particular question, and then, okay, how do I do that particular job but within the sports media industry? So if you have any thoughts about that, like what you want your concentration to be in, I'd be interested to hear that. Because you can do anything, really.
Hey, Brett.
What?
They threw the ball to the tight end again.
Yeah, I know, EJ. Guess who it wasn't, too? Take a guess. Irv fucking Smith.
Yeah. It was an absolute drill from Browning, though, between layers. Like, that's a tough throw.
David Hawk for $2. Do you think Joe Brady improves the Bills? Maybe. Like, it's not like the Bills needed a whole lot of improvement. They just need to, A, clean up the turnovers, and B, I think play selection just outside of the red zone in terms of run-pass ratio was really impacting them. And that, like, I didn't think Dorsey should be fired, but I did want him to not have a 70% pass ratio from the 45-yard line. When, like, you just need to get yards. You need to set yourself up for, makeable fourth downs instead of stringing together incompletions. I think you need to set up better field goal position. And I'm not saying you have to run the ball all the time, but don't be a 70% pass team in that area of the field. If there's one area of the field that you can afford to slow things down a bit and not be ultra aggressive, it's there. So, like, again, I don't think Dorsey needed to be fired over it. I just wanted him to improve it, That's all. You have any thoughts on the Brady Bills thing?
Yeah, I have a lot. You made the video on the Bills, and it is a really sort of vexing situation, not only for Bills fans, but for people looking from the outside in, trying to understand that team like us. I don't pretend that we are on the inside of the Bills situation. Analytically, the Bills are a very effective offense. When you watch them on the field, the Bills are not a very effective offense. And so you have this situation where the result of the plays they run is good when looked at, I almost want to say individually, but in terms of timing within the drive, in terms of play selection in the red zone, in terms of, stringing drives together in high pressure situations late in the game, like they were not getting it done. So it almost feels like, worthless calories, or, you call it garbage time yards. They're not necessarily garbage time yards, but empty calories, empty yards, empty kind of efficiency. Oh, there's a catch for a touchdown to Jamar Chase. like too little too late for my particular roster, but you love to see it for Browning. You love to see it for the Bengals that they have something to build on going into the next game. Unfortunately, they used up a lot of time on that drive, so they only have 1:08 left, and I think that's kneel down territory as opposed to hand it off to Gus territory.
Yeah, they're just let's get out of here and go home at this point, you know.
I know. I just want one more handoff to Gus. That's all I want. Again, the number set for Gus's carries was very accurate. Oh, and my Mac thing would have hit. Just saying.
Oh, it would have, theoretically.
Yeah. The one time I decide to bet/not bet on a kicker with flying colors, like easily. So with this victory, Ravens are going to move 7-3. Steelers 6-3, super surprising. Browns also 6-3, and then the Bengals are going to fall to the 4th place in the division. And we talked about this before the game that it was not necessarily a must-win, but you're going to struggle the rest of the year. It's a divisional game, counts 2 for 1. Especially if the Burrow injury situation is going to be prolonged, that is going to be a bad hit for the Bengals season. It was a bad hit when he was injured in the first month. If he is re-injured and will miss a bunch of time, make no mistake, your division is incredibly tough. You're currently in 4th place. You don't have your all-star quarterback.
If Joe is missing a month, again, there's only 7 games left. If Joe is missing a month, you might as well shut him down for the year, right? Because they're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, I'm like, if he's missing 2 games with what we said, they lost this one. If he's missing 2 games, what's the difference 3 games from now?
Yeah, the season is effectively over, because even if Joe was healthy, if they lost this game, it's more likely that they finish somewhere just outside of the AFC wild card than inside of it. Just there's not enough time left on the schedule for them to make up that ground when they don't own really any tiebreakers over anybody except Buffalo. So
no, you're going to be dependent on your division mates going on losing streaks. Like the Browns have to go on a losing streak. The Steelers have to go on a big losing streak, which, come on, it's a Tomlin coach team. He's not going to finish under 500. In fact, he may finish well over it this year for whatever reason. But you need some help, and they don't look at all pleased to be giving that to you. Oh, come on. Hand it to Gus. Hand it to Gus. Yes.
That's all we care about. That's all we care about.
That did it. That hit it. So how's my roster? Come on. I know I didn't.
You still didn't hit. You're still 1 short because they didn't because of the Zay callback. So you ended up with 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Okay.
I ended up with
should have bet on the kicker.
2 out of 5 in my pregame, and then
so I beat you. This is the AFC North. This is the AFC North of pick'em rosters. Well, I didn't win anything, but I beat you.
And then 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4.
Oh, and they handed it to him again, just for good measure, just to make sure. I like that.
It's a small victory, CJ.
I guess. Well, I would say, we knew that we were going to know more things, and unfortunately, I think we know more things about both of these teams than what we wanted to find out, which is the Ravens are still a power. They're still atop the division. Both teams took a bunch of injuries.
They're both worse for wear. Baltimore, this wasn't exactly it was a good win for Baltimore, obviously, but in terms of
costly,
the damage that was done.
Yeah, costly for sure. So better to win than to lose, but, for Bengals fans, it's not good. Joe misses any time at all, and it looks like he's probably going to. Very tough to dig your way out of the cellar after the start you had. With the Ravens, you just hope they get healthy in a hurry. They're still playing really good football. Bengals are a really good football team. They beat them, I would say, pretty handily.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for them. But yikes, so many injuries on both sides.
It's a brutal game.
Yeah.
And, it's unfortunate. Hopefully, a lot of the injuries that that we saw tonight aren't super serious. Especially Andrews and Burrow and all them. Like, we want the stars of the league to be on the field. It makes a more entertaining product. So hopefully it's not super detrimental, or is that the right word? Super serious, right?
Yeah, we don't want it to be long term for any of it, and you hope it's something that they can play through, that they can come back from in a couple of weeks with some treatment, as opposed to something that's going to nag them, hardcore all season long. Look, nobody in the NFL feels great at this point of the season. Everybody's beat up, everybody's body hurts, but are they going to be able to function down the stretch and be a benefit to their team or not? And if they can't, that's rugged, because especially a team like the Ravens, Mark Andrews, key cog in their offensive attack. If he's gone for a lot of time, not super helpful. They proved they could overcome it tonight. He got hurt pretty early, and they did well without him, but he is a guy they're going to need down the stretch.
Last super chat here. DeLove Doctor 69 all day. What a name. For $5. Man, this game feels like it was winnable had Burrow finished out the game. Momentum was on our side and everything. I don't know. I'm just sad, man. You could be 100% be sad. Like, this season was it, right? Like, they didn't trade T for a first round pick when they had offers, because this year was it. They were going to go all in, and they went all in, and it's ending up being a nightmare. So 100% be sad, but also at the same time, in terms of replacing T, because I don't know if they're going to franchise tag him, because again, the money is stacking up pretty quick here in terms of who they got to spend on. So if they're not franchising T, or franchising and trading him, which maybe is the real move here, Rome Odunze in Cincy catching go balls from Joe. That's my way of cheering you up here.
Yeah, I don't think that they can probably retain T for the money compared to young talent they could get in the draft at a much cheaper rate. And that may work out to be better for both parties. T's most likely going to get his chance to go on and be, a number one in another place, that he has that level of talent, and we'll see how it happens. But in terms of Cincinnati, like, you're already, there's a lot of talent on that team you have to pay. And if you're locking it up between three guys, Burrow, Chase, and then T, with the wide receiver premium, with as much as that market went up recently, it's very difficult to retain two number one level wide receivers. It just money wise, it's prohibitive.
Okay, this is the real last one. Short round for $10. Said Jake Browning from Wikipedia. In 46 games, he completed 1,191 out of 1,708 attempts for 16,775 yards and 229 touchdowns. Jesus Christ. That is...
Yep.
There's high school production, and then there's that.
Yeah, there's high school production, and then there's like Derrick Henry high school production, which
that's
close
nuts.
to that.
So. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Again, we have a show coming out tomorrow, kind of looking at the quote unquote worst teams in the NFL and how to fix them. Hope you guys come by for that. As well, we're also previewing the Chiefs and Eagles game on that show too, and we're talking a little bit about the Deshaun injury. So, stack show tomorrow. Hope you come back. And thank you for joining us for the stream. And until later.